Welcome back to Numbers on the Board.
Numbers on the board. Yes.
Kicking it back to like 2021. Getting back to the virtual setups, man.
My neighbors probably were just like, "What is that?"
Feels like forever ago.
It really does, man. But if you're unaware, in the Midwest, we got like this crazy cold streak going on. Right now, it's minus 10 degrees, and it says it feels like minus 21.
I went out. It felt like 81. I had to take my dog out. That's hot. You can go out there with shorts. Go take a jog around the block.
They was telling me, I got some people in my Discord that was telling me that they're getting a bunch of snow in Texas. So that's crazy.
All my exes live in Texas.
It's in Georgia straight.
It's crazy out. And we didn't want to drive to the studio, but we also didn't want to neglect y'all and not give y'all an episode. So it's just a little throwback, man. It's been a couple years since we had to do it this way. But other than the weather, how we feeling?
I'm feeling amazing. I think we up early. We even doing this an hour early than we usually do, and I'm just feeling refreshed and excited.
I see you had that you got that breakfast in you.
Yep, I came into the stream and Darrick was eating, so he probably the only one out of us four that is eating.
He didn't hear it though.
You ate breakfast? No. You ate breakfast, KB? I haven't eaten.
You should have heard him. He opened it up and we heard everything, all the wrappers crumbling, and we heard that first bite. Sound like he ate about half that sandwich in one bite.
So what you get, DMills? So we starting right now is 9 o'clock. This is usually the time I wake up and prepare and go drive to the studio like 9:30, 9:45. So you got up a little earlier. And where did you go? Oh,
I got up around the same time. I got up at like 8:15.
No,
I usually wait.
Huh? Right? You get up 8:15?
Yeah. I like to get up early because I feel like if I don't wake myself up, I'm just not gonna be all there. Like I have to get woken up. If I try to wake up at 9 o'clock, 9:15 and drive to the studio,
it also will give you enough time to get everything that you need.
Yeah.
Because without coming to the studio, Darrick got lattes and double cup styrofoam, double twisted hand, hazelnut, refreshing, all type of stuff. That don't sound like nothing that can get done in 5 minutes. Talking about no. I was at Starbucks with Darrick one time. He told him all this intricate like details on his drink, but he told the dude, he said, "Hey, and when y'all get the hazelnut, don't squeeze it like this. You got to do it like this. Do it like that."
Whoa.
That's what Darrick said. We was in Vegas, and that's exactly how Darrick ordered his drink. And I was like, Darrick, that is the most extra uncalled for thing to do. And he like, I need it the way I need it. Look, wait, put that back in the camera. Is that the drink?
Nah.
Okay.
It's a little peppermint mocha.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Did you tell them anything to do, any details, or did you just say peppermint mocha and call it a day?
I just ordered it on my phone and just went and picked it up.
Okay. Oh, so you've been outside too?
Yeah, I had to also go fill up the tank with gas.
Oh, you was outside.
Yeah.
And Darrick don't have hat and gloves.
I did.
He damn near got a coat.
Yeah.
Damn near got a coat.
I have a coat. There's a second part to that coat.
But you just wearing the light part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, before we get into the episode, I want to remind you to leave a like, subscribe. More details on our live show, San Francisco All-Star Weekend, February 15th, 3 p.m. at the Strand. We are halfway sold out, man. So go to NOTBlive.com and get your tickets, man. Because it's gonna be a show. Special guests, maybe 2 free drinks with admission, some merch. It's gonna be a really, really great time. So if you're in the area, please get you a ticket. NOTBlive.com.
I don't know.
Being halfway sold out in the first week is crazy.
I'm not sure what y'all hearing, but I've heard one of those guests could be Michael Jordan.
It's a possibility. Yeah,
I heard number 2 might be Bron. Like
it's not off the table. All I know is people need to go get them tickets because every time we sell out something, it's always a gang of DMs behind it. Like, is it any left? I know the site say sold out, but is there anything? And I'd be like, bro, it's nothing I can do. It's nothing I can do. How was Martin Luther King Day for y'all, basketball wise? Did y'all get y'all fix? Felt kind of weird, man.
Yeah.
Felt kind of weird. And I got home and the games was halfway done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way because I hit the group chat saying who on the game or whatever like that.
Yeah,
I think it also people don't know we did the linear show, so we went to the studio earlier, like 4 o'clock, and then we leave the studio, and it feels like normally on a Monday when we leave the studio for that, the games are about to crack off. Like all of the games that start off for the night are about to unfold, and I just remember getting home being like, nothing. I mean, you had the college championship game on.
It was good though. We got the better games though before we started up though. Yeah. Like the Celtics the Warriors game was bad.
Oh, okay.
And like we kind of missed that one. So
we did get to see Timberwolves and Grizzlies. That's the one you were referring to. I wouldn't mind seeing that as a playoff series, by the way.
No, that's a dream playoff series. I think a lot of those young teams, I think they all match up really, really well because I think they also talk shit a little bit too. And that's kind of one of the aspects that I like. Like OKC, Memphis, not OKC. I meant Minnesota, Memphis, or either Minnesota and Houston. Like they all kind of got that shit talking mentality, and I think that's fun.
You count Minnesota as a young team?
I mean, I'm Anthony Edwards, yeah, just like the star.
Okay. Because I'm thinking about like Randle.
Minnesota is kind of they are older. Yeah,
they got some older cats out there, but they did end up playing Rob Dillingham quite a bit, so that brings down their average age, and he's been looking all right, man. That's been pretty cool to see. Somebody had the stats of like in his minutes so far, his 85 minutes in the past couple games, they're like a plus 19. Which at the end of the day, if the team is winning when you're on the court, that's incentivizing the coach to put you back out there even more. So that's good for little Rob. But overall, y'all see the stat of Anthony Edwards being like 0 of 12 on game-winning / go-ahead shots so far in his career. That was from ESPN and Info too, so it's not like some hater account.
I just seen the last shot he got in that Grizzlies game, and that's not a shot you make more often than not.
Yeah.
That's a very low percentage shot. I mean, he had 2 people over him. And honestly, it's not much he could do when a lot of times the lanes are all clogged up. My bad about my mic. It's doing that same thing where like the volume just go down randomly all the way to 1.
Yeah, because we hear the difference. We definitely hear the difference.
I don't know what it's doing, but anyways, like they're all get this shit.
Wait. You can see it. You can see it going down.
Right, yeah, you can.
It just goes down. Yeah,
you can see the levels.
Yeah, I'm gonna unplug my mic and plug it back in.
Or just keep it at 1, brother. That's what I'm doing. Like if I turn my mic up, it's gonna go up, but as I talk, it'll go down. So it's my mic is telling me that 4 is enough for whatever we StreamYard. It's saying 4 is enough, so I'm not gonna keep turning it up.
Or maybe stop coming in so hot, Mike. The reason it's adjusted because you yelling at the start of every sentence you got.
Or you may be melting the infrastructure on the inside because you ain't.
Yeah, you know he didn't. He had to leave the house yet, so he definitely ain't brushed them teeth.
Look at that big ass smile.
They do look pearly white though.
Yeah, that's the benefit of Zoom.
I don't
man.
like
everybody's teeth look great when you on camera.
I don't like how Darrick just gave him that compliment though. But no,
either way,
yeah, Anthony
Martin
Edwards.
Luther King Day. I would say it was pretty disappointing basketball wise. This was like the only game that was really like that.
All the games were pretty disappointing.
The Knicks Hawks wasn't too bad. I mean, we separated, ended up having a 9-point win, but it wasn't the worst.
It was a good game.
Bulls won. Shout out to y'all, Chicago Bulls. Another win.
Fake win.
Gosh.
No Zubac.
We have to a win is a win for the Chicago Bulls. We have to start thinking and talking, Contrell. I'm going to call you Contrell.
Okay.
About the Bulls and the play-in.
Yeah, I mean, they lost their 5 games before that, so let's not give them too much praise for this.
But then, like the Sixers went on a 6-game losing streak. So
all I'm saying, as of today, Contrell and Darrick,
they're the
10th seed. That's play-in basketball.
Yeah, it's fine because they're gonna lose that one game, and we're gonna keep the 10th pick. It's all wins.
I don't. The way you guys are playing, if you're capable of beating, a team like a Clippers. You might be able to beat the Detroit Pistons.
The Clippers are not a good team without Zubac and Kawhi Leonard.
The Miami Heat, they might not have Jimmy Butler, and they're the AFC. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all might have a chance. I'm just putting it out there. I think y'all excitement level.
It's what the NBA needs: a competitive Bulls.
I think the Bulls should buy at the deadline. I think you guys should go out and try to figure out a way to flip somebody that's young.
I saw a mock trade for us getting John Collins. There you go. That's how you buy. You get John Collins in the locker
type
room.
Of trade I've been talking about. Give up Patrick Williams and get back John Collins, baby.
That's literally was the trade.
Oh, see, yeah, going for that 9th seed. I love it. I love it.
At least that contract a little shorter.
It is a little shorter. Because Pat still is bad, but we don't have to spend too much time there. Overall, MLK Day for the basketball wasn't great. I would say it wasn't great for other reasons too, but we ain't really got to get into that.
No, what do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
You staying off the internet. I like that.
Oh, you talking about that? Yeah. No, but I think the real issue though for some of the basketball, I was not prepared to have those games start as early as they did. Which is not the NBA fault. It's just that it was Monday. It was a lot going on. It was Martin Luther King Day. You had people on stage doing crazy stuff, going viral. But yeah, I think that kind of threw me off. Even last night, I was preparing for the show, and I was looking at some draft prospects as well while y'all was playing video games.
So we do best, actually.
And I clicked over to look at something in the league, and the Bulls and Clippers was playing. And I was like, I didn't know basketball was going on this late. Like I forgot. I thought we was done for the day. And then I was like, oh, maybe I can watch. And it was It was like kind of like a blowout-ish lead. And I was like, oh, I'm good. But yeah, it did feel a little disappointing. I blame the Warriors, and let's start there. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. We talked about it before. What's the title of this episode?
We're buying and selling stuff.
Are y'all buying the fact that the Warriors are going to go this route? That was one of my things. Like, I know we talked about it in episodes. Next time you sneeze, please mute your mic. I feel like we talked about that before we started recording.
It came out of nowhere.
But are y'all actually buying or selling the fact that this could be what we're going to experience as we shift into Steph Curry era and Golden State kind of dwindling? Like, they're just going to be a sub 500 team or a little bit over 500. They're going to compete for potentially a play-in spot, and that's just what we're getting. Because I can't buy it.
I'm not gonna lie. I came to this episode with the intention of selling Steph Curry, stocking Steph Curry for this season, just because I had a lot of high expectations for them. They were one of them teams that I kind of really didn't know if they were going to be able to like be on the outside looking in, or if they were going to be one of them teams that could be a top 6 seed. But the way that I kind of envisioned Steph Curry would be a little bit more dominant, and it's not his fault because he's getting up there in age, but I just don't see it the same way I kind of thought I did. So I'm not too invested in them in terms of like success this season. I think you're probably about right on how it's going to be for them. They're probably not going to be able to put another competent roster around him fast enough to get to like at least back to a top seed.
Yeah, for me, I personally just don't believe in. I mean, in a way, I don't believe in like the front office because, like, essentially, they haven't mortgaged their future at all, and all the reports are saying they're not going to do it. And Steph Curry and Draymond are also saying they don't want to do it. So essentially, it seems like everybody's kind of okay with what's going on right now, and they kind of just going to ride this wave out. And so for me, I think I'm just going to buy the fact that I think this is just how it's going to happen. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. I mean, just before we hit record, I just saw another report that the Lakers also are not going to do a big trade, but rather do some smaller stuff. And it's like one of my questions about this age of aging stars is like, how much will a team care about the aging stars, right? We got a 40-year-old Bron, and the Lakers are still saying, hey, we might do some small moves here or there, but we're not going all in. We got an aging Steph Curry at 35, 36 years old. Both of these guys still look great, but their front offices are deciding that it makes more sense to keep their future assets versus going out there and making some trades right now. And I think that's overall really interesting. And now that we've seen, I mean, they've kind of tracked back some of those conversations like, oh, we still think we can win. We still want to win. But the reality is you told us you're not going to go out there and go get him help. Right? You told us you're not going to get a star, and you can make a small move. Dennis Schroeder, cool, but he's been not so good since he got there. You can convince yourself that those smaller deals will matter, and at the end of the day, they really won't. So I'm buying the idea that we're going to watch Bron and Steph Curry and hell, maybe even Kevin Durant, depending on how this Phoenix Suns thing, these big titans of our era end up the end of their careers with them not being in contention, but we still watch it because they can still give us a great performance here or there, but their teams have bought in to not buying in.
One thing about KD, though, I think KD is the only one who is completely open to just switching teams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Steph Curry and LeBron are going to switch teams at any time soon. So I think KD will always put himself in a position of where he's competing and trying to win.
I feel that. I mean, that's definitely more on brand for him. I pray that we don't get like a we moving out from Stephen Curry, because it makes more sense for us 3 years down the line type move from the Warriors. Like, he's such a one-team guy, but I can't put anything past him, man. You have one of the greatest players to ever pick up a basketball on your team, and though, again, he's not the same that he was 6 years ago, he's still amazing, and you're opting to not try to build around him. So if that is the decision you made, who the hell knows what other big decisions can be made with Mike Dunleavy and Joe Lacob and stuff? You had the second most important player in your franchise history, or the fan favorite, and Klay Thompson just walk. So I think anything is really possible.
All these situations are just a little different for me. When you talk about the Lakers and like LeBron aging out that way, I look at it totally different than the Warriors for a few different reasons. Number one, I feel like the Lakers did go out and make attempts, and they made them on LeBron James's behalf, like the Russell Westbrook deal. Like we all are aware at this point now that some of these moves LeBron and Anthony Davis kind of co-signed and was looking for. And the Lakers went through all of these different moves. They drafted his son. They got a bunch of clutch guys. They've made their attempts at trying this. Now, because of different coaches, because of a lack of success with these moves, because of the financial struggle of the second apron and whatnot, and because they did mortgage so much of their future after they got him, they literally just can't. Now, when I look at the Warriors, it's a few things are a little different. Steph Curry is a lot younger than Bron. As old as Bron is, he is younger than Bron. Number two, Steph Curry changed the entire direction and history of this franchise. The Lakers were the Lakers before LeBron James came. They're going to be the Lakers after LeBron James leaves. That's nothing against LeBron. That's just the fact of the matter. The Warriors, my entire childhood was a laughingstock. We never took the Warriors serious. The best thing they did in the history was 8-1 Chris Mullins, the We Believe, and then Chris Mullins in the 3 20-point
Run TMC.
Yes, thank you. That was their history. Like, that was it. But then other than that, if you was my age, you didn't even get to see Tim Hardaway Jr. and Mitch Richmond and Chris Mullins. That was just kind of what your parents told you about. And then the We Believe was just one playoff series. That was really just it. And everything else in between is like the Warriors suck. Steph Curry comes in as a guy that wasn't even like touted to be this type of transcendent star for a franchise, let alone the entire league and the history and existence of the league with the 3-point shot. But he was like a cute college player who was going to be a good guy, and he changed the entire franchise. They had a dynasty. Even when the dynasty seemed over because they lost Kevin Durant, they still were able to get one on the back end. And I just feel like when you have all of that, you kind of owe it to the player. And the fact that they haven't attempted, like I feel like you could or should, it's kind of disappointing as a fan. And I would not be as disappointed if Steph Curry did have to go somewhere else. I would be disappointed, don't get me wrong, but if it was for the betterment of him, because he still has high-level basketball. We're talking about Steph Curry like he ain't the same from 6 years. I agree with that. But I also think the way Steph Curry is playing right now is on the behalf of the roster that's built around him. We're talking about a team that said that they're going to play 12 guys. All of these different guys have some value, but they're kind of up and down. And on any given night, we just don't know what we're getting from the supporting cast. Last night, they got destroyed on MLK Day, or yesterday's evening. It wasn't last night, I should say. And he was the only guy, I believe, that reached double figures. Like that. And he barely played because they was getting blown out. I don't think he cracked 30 minutes. This roster is just disgusting for some of the historic previous years that we're used to seeing the Warriors. And again, it's not just a front office spot. Draymond has put them in tough situations when he ran Kevin Durant out of town, when he punched Jordan Poole and they were forced to trade. And like we talked about on the Linear Show yesterday, Kenny brought it up. I didn't realize they traded a 2031 pick to get rid of Jordan Poole because they were put in a spot. And now, you know, you look at some of the other moves that they made. I was never a fan of not trading the second overall pick. I know hindsight, everybody feels like that, but I just never believed in being able to develop while competing. And I was never a fan of keeping 7 and 14. which was Kuminga and Moody. And now I feel like you've kept them so long that y'all don't know their value. None of us really know the value. He's asking for $30 million. You don't know if you want to give it, rightfully so. I don't even know what's going to happen with that. And now it's just like, it's a tough spot to be in. And I feel like you owed it to Steph to have some type of swing attempt that's more than Dennis Schroeder and Cam Johnson. Like, he deserves to have had a chance with Lauri Markkanen. He deserved to have had a chance with Paul George. And I know they tried. Maybe not. So you don't want to get Jimmy Butler.
You know, to your point too, Pete, because you mentioned just like the teams aren't able to put enough around these players, especially once they get to an older age. I feel like it's a double whammy because we've seen time and time after again, like, you can't do it off we just gonna add him and we're just all of a sudden that team. Like, it takes a couple years on top of that and to build something off of that. So it's just like, if I have a player that's 35 and I'm trying to win it in this 1 to 2 year frame, it's a lot harder to do that thinking I can. It's a lot easier said than done to just be like, I'm gonna pick up this guy and we right back here.
I guess it depends on the talent, right? Because the Lakers picked up Anthony Davis and immediately won, but he was a top 10 player in the league at that time. So it definitely is a bit different. I think one of the worst things that could have happened, and this is going to sound crazy because it's also great, was that last championship. Because now they feel like they can have a roster without a secondary star and still end up doing it. They are still in post-game interviews paralleling this season to that season, when the reality was these teams are so much different. That team was, I just looked it up yesterday, 31-11 at this same point in the season. You can't tell me, you can't tell me these things are similar, because right now you're a 500 team. None of the stats say that these teams are similar, other than the fact that a couple players are still here. So it's like fool's gold. Again, you take that extra championship, it changes Steph Curry's legacy. It changes how we looked at Wiggins and Draymond and all of these dudes. But damn, a few years down the line, you still thinking about it and thinking that that's a possibility when it's really not. There's no chance that you can replicate that.
Wiggins was an all-star that year.
He literally was an all-star
right now. He's not even in the
He was playing some of the best defense I've ever seen somebody play. Like, I remember him guarding Luka. He might have guarded Luka the best I ever seen when it comes to playoff time.
Yeah, he was a big reason why they were able to contain Jason Tatum too in that series.
And again, like, I understand a lot of the points y'all made, and some of how they feel, but I just feel like they're kind of failing. Mike Dunleavy Jr., you're failing a guy. This isn't a typical guy. I'm not saying how are you going to build around. I'm trying to think of somebody else who's aged out of the league. You know what I mean? Like, normal players don't age like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and LeBron. This is new. When I was growing up, guys hit 33, 34, and it was like the Tracy McGrady with the Spurs. Or Vince Carter, his last few years where you're hopping around team. These guys are still legitimate all-star players who are making us tune into game. Those guys just won us a gold medal.
Yep.
Like, and when we needed them the most, they were able to give us prolific performances. They're hanging still with the Lukas and the Shays and competing with them, and still in that realm. So I just feel like when you have that, it's disappointing to see the Lakers, as much as they missed. You give the Lakers credit; they were trying.
They were.
The Phoenix Suns were not the best move. The Bradley Beal is not the best move. Hey, the Phoenix Suns are trying. Even to this day, right now, this moment, we're anticipating a trade deadline and them trying to do something. Hey, we'll go get Nick Richards. Like, they're trying. Shout out to the Warriors. They had me going, seeing that they were willing to go get a Dennis Schroeder who doesn't play the normal type of basketball that they played. And I was excited. I'm like, oh, they're going to open up their minds and their philosophy and invite guys that may not be a part of the normal system that they play. He's more of a pick and roll guy. They really are serious about winning and trying to compete. I respect that. And then a week after that, it's just like, nah, we just chilling. Hey, if we make the playoffs, we make it. And then, then you have these nights where they do come out and have this irrational confidence, like, no, we still compete. And it's just so conflicting. And I'm not even a part of the fan base. I know the fan base, if I go to their subreddit right now, a lot of them probably have the same emotions that we have.
Let's see. But
again, it's just not, when you talk about Steph Curry and giving your best player a chance to compete at the end of his career, it's not the typical conversation that we're having. It's kind of like what the Spurs did for Tim Duncan and those guys. We're not talking about just some ordinary guy who was an all-star a couple times for you. And I'm not saying you have to win a championship, but I'm also saying you can't feed the media like us and your fan base that you're going to have a 12-man rotation and it's going to be successful in this landscape of the Western Conference and you're going to compete. You're going to tell me that right now you are sitting at 11th, which means that the playoffs started today. You're not even in the picture after just missing the playoffs last year. So you're going to go 2 back-to-back years, but forget championship. Take championship out of the conversation. You're not even making the playoffs?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I think
that's bad.
I think that's a big reason why Bob Myers got out of there. I think Bob Myers started writing on the wall. He knew what pressure was going to be on the front office in order to figure out, are we focusing on the future or are we building around Steph Curry? And he knew how tough of a job that was, so he got his ass out of there. And now Mike Dunleavy is now in this situation. He doesn't have any emotional connections to these players, probably like Bob Myers did. Bob Myers drafted a lot of these people. He signed them. He gave them extensions. He's been around and he won all those championships with them. Mike Dunleavy, on the other hand, he doesn't have that same connection at the end of the day. So I think he might be more willing to do the big deals. I think that's why Bob Myers didn't want to have to do the big deals.
My dad is a Warriors fan, and we just had this conversation 2 days ago. And he said what you said. My point to him was Bob Myers did you the favor. Bob Myers has the connection. He won with them. You don't. So if Draymond Green, just hypothetically, needs his ass to be traded, it's easy for you. Bob Myers has had dinners with him, probably, won championship, all of this.
Right, been in his wedding.
You're right, been in his wedding. Exactly, Derek. Exactly. You haven't, from what I know. Yeah. And if you have, you don't have the same relationship as Bob Myers. So your job was supposed to be a lot easier to cut these ties. So it's like the excuse for Mike Dunleavy is what now?
I wonder how involved Joe Lacob is then. Right? Maybe Mike Dunleavy is one of them guys like, okay, what you said is true. I don't get no damn if Draymond's on the team or not. Let's move him. But Joe Lacob being the owner, he might be like, nah, like we kind of want this guy. Yeah.
But I mean, if that's the case, wouldn't they have just re-signed Klay too?
It's possible, I guess.
Because I feel like Klay Thompson was that. Like, it is the Splash Brothers. Like, that's what made this team so special.
But I think they wanted to, but Klay wasn't going for what they were offering. So at that point, it's kind of like we're also not desperate enough to keep this together where we're going to be idiotic. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, I know it's conflicting, it's contradicting, because I feel like the move that they did for Draymond, his extension after what he had did, I don't think that was deserving. Now, as a basketball player, Draymond deserves as much money as he's ever going to get because he's earned all of that. But when you just look at some of the damages he's done to that locker room, I was very surprised to see him still walk away. Did he get $100 million contract?
It was like 4 year, $100 million.
Well, Rich Paul gonna get his guys paid.
I love Rich Paul. I respect Rich Paul. Rich Paul would not have wanted to see me in that front office as the guy to make the decisions, because yo 99% of your other guys didn't do what Draymond did. Yeah. What you was gonna say, Mike?
I was gonna ask y'all honestly, because y'all just talking about like the emotional detachment or whatever with like the front office and the Warriors at this point. Would y'all, if y'all had two baskets, do y'all put your eggs in the basket that Steph Curry requests to trade out, or they just be like, you know what, at this point in better time, it's better for our franchise? Because honestly, in just no way, I could never see Steph Curry in a different jersey other than the Warrior jersey.
That's why I feel like there's a third basket where neither of those same things happen, where he just ends his career like Dirk did. It's like we're going to win 33 games every season, but we got Steph Curry. We still got Dirk. We still got, even Kobe. I think Kobe's last 5 years, he also averaged like 35 wins. They didn't make the playoffs. But you had Kobe and you sold tickets, and Kobe was still an icon. I think that could be a possibility for Steph Curry, man.
Those are two great names you brought up because they're iconic, especially to their franchises. But they wasn't playing the basketball that Steph Curry was playing. I know Kobe and Dirk were older, but Steph Curry is getting there. He don't seem as old as he is because of the way he's playing. I guess I agree with KB. It just sounds crazy to say, hey, NBA world, Steph Curry is available. You never want to be the franchise that says that. And then secondly, Steph Curry is not a guy that's going to request a trade. He's just not at all. You know what I mean? He's not. I just don't see it. And at the same time, as much as we're saying this, at the end of the day, Steph Curry has 4 championships. He's the first and only unanimous MVP ever. He has multiple MVPs. He's the greatest shooter ever. He's breaking records that will be broken 1,000 years from now when robots are shooting the basketball, I guess. He probably going to have ownership in the team. If we're being honest with you, like as much as he's done, I wouldn't be surprised if the Laker family is like, here you go, you know, a little share of the squad. So it just, is it that serious to request a trade? I don't know. And then you also have, when you request a trade, you better go win. You can't request a trade and go somewhere and be the 8th seed. Like you got to go and win a championship. And the way that the NBA is with the second apron and how much he made, it just becomes so complicated that, I guess he just rides out in the sunset. But as a basketball fan, it's going to irritate and annoy the hell out of me is all I'm saying.
Yeah, because he's going to give you games where he got 40 and you're like, damn, they barely snuck out with a win or they may even lost that game.
The 40-point win prolongs the sweep. The Warriors ain't getting swept. They got to go back to the OKC before we end the series. They survived the swept though. It's going to be a 5-game series now because Steph Curry had a 45-point game
at this
in game
point,
4,
and
they won by 3.
He dropped 45 in that 9-10 playing
right
game.
To play.
I guess that's really what is more likely. So that's a good one. Mike, did you have Drop the Mic?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Right, I forgot.
Honestly, nah, I didn't have Drop.
He had that drive.
Yes, he confirmed that you think of Drop the Mics on the way to the episode, bro. You just confirmed it. You just confirmed it, bro. That's crazy.
It's on an episode by episode basis. Sometimes I got it, sometimes I don't in the morning.
You had Drop the Mic for like a year straight.
Usually I do it at night.
He be like this.
But we had an early pod, so.
Who's the greatest dunker of all time?
We had an early pod last week, but you did, okay, it's fine. We don't need to Drop the Mic. You ain't got to give excuses either. You just say
we already 30 minutes in and we cooking right now. Just keep it going.
All we're saying though is that did confirm that you have you got the longest drive, so you got about a 22-minute drive there.
22-minute drive. So you got a lot of time to think. He muted. I'm guessing something happened in the background.
The fire trucks is driving past.
Okay.
We honestly didn't hear it.
Oh, I just wanted to be sure. Unlike some other people, I'm courteous to my other co-hosts. But you think of that's all he's saying. Can you confirm that, Mike? Did we get confirmation that the drives help you cement what Drop the Mic is gonna be?
I always think better when I drive, man. Yeah.
He can never just say yes or no.
Right, yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. You still have it before the show.
Ain't nothing wrong with it at all. I don't care if he came up with it when he went to the bathroom before the show. He got it.
Yep, that's all that matter. What's some things? So Pierre brought in the Warriors / Steph Curry's ending to his career as a buyer.
I got something right here. I'm buying into the Detroit Pistons making the playoffs. They are going to be the team. I'm not talking about playing in. I'm talking about the team that makes it into the playoffs. They might get booted in that first round, but I think that's a huge step for a team that was probably one of the most losingest teams last year, probably over the last couple years, maybe even a decade, just looking for something. But this team has been a lot better. I think I'm liking them when it comes down to close games in the fourth quarter. He's still growing, but I do trust him making a decision, and his team has been stepping up. Malik Beasley's been looking really good. Tobias Harris has been looking good. And I like their rotations of the center of Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren. Whoever's playing better, we're going to roll with them. And they just have like a recipe to win games. And I think that's enough to get them to the playoffs.
So they're 73 in their last 10. They just won last night against the number 2 seed Houston Rockets. Huge win. Kay Cunningham had a ridiculous third quarter. Dunked on some people, turned the ball over a hell of a lot of times, but it don't matter.
It's all right. It
don't matter. They won. They won by double digits. Not even did they just win. They won by double digits. So it's like, you don't like that, but also it's like under the rug because you got the win.
But also I think it's fine because like he's really the only one with a lot of turnovers.
So you're saying like the old James Harden thing. James Harden turned the ball over a lot, but his team was pretty low. I'm gonna look that up real quick. Let me look that up.
Also, shout out Ron Holland. He been looking like a rotational player, I should say.
I'm glad you said that, Mike. I'm gonna give some respect to Ron Holland. He's been doing really well. I don't think I've ever like trashed him, or especially on air, but I definitely was looking at Ron Holland a little bit like, what exactly is his thing that makes him stick in the NBA? Still don't know it, but he's making it work as of right now as an energy guy. When you're a top 5 pick, I just don't believe that you can survive the NBA as an energy guy. But as of right now, he's making it work on a team that needs some of the energy that he brings. So shout out to Ron Holland, man. I have enjoyed some of the moments and things I've seen from him more than I was anticipating. So shout out to Ron Holland for sure, and the Star Times.
So they got like $14 million in cap space for this deadline. I've read conflicting things about what their idea of a perfect deadline is. Is it selling? Is it taking in bad contracts in order to get future assets with that 14 million? So we're gonna have to wait and see. But I did watch that game last night against the Rockets, or yesterday afternoon against the Rockets. And of course, we mentioned the Cade Cunningham third quarter, but sometimes I do feel like he's overtaxed for being the ball handler all of the time. Where teams would throw two, they'll blitz, they'll do this, they'll do that, get the ball out of his hands, and sometimes getting the ball out of his hands is those 10 costly turnovers and stuff. So I would love for them to, like, again, they don't have to do nothing super long term because Jaden Ivey should be back next season, but I would love to see them get another guy that can just create for others outside of Cade, because it's really just him, young Marcus Sasser.
Marcus Fizer is crazy.
It sounds similar. Marcus, either way, and he's not really like looked at to be like a playmaker necessarily. He's a downhill creator. So just getting another guy.
I would have loved for them to have been the team that got Dennis Schroeder. I thought Dennis Schroeder would have been able to come in and fit this team beautifully. Especially when you're talking about offensively, he is another pick and roll creator. He likes to do similar things to what Cade would do, and I also think defensively, he would match what Ron Holland and Asar would bring to the table. And he would just bring that energy too. He would be the one picking up full court, and he would just add another element to that team.
Yeah, this has been one of my biggest things since the draft. Like when they got Ron Holland, I didn't think it was too bad, but I was kind of like, I wish it could have been like Reed Shepherd or Stephon Castle, because I've been wanting to see Cade have different looks for a while now. So I agree with y'all as far as what the deadline is going to look like, or just going forward. I think that could be the real shift in them from being this real cool team that's playing better to taking the next step, is figuring out a piece that could provide that. And it could be a little piece, but it could also be a major piece. If they go out in the free agency or the off season and they're able to flip some pieces or whatever and go get that established guy to be there, it maybe can change the trajectory of this team.
Yeah, it's hard to find somebody that's like an expiring that can come in and help. You do got some bigger contracts, like of course the Zach LaVine thing was the thing last season that fell.
He legitimately would be perfect though.
I think so too, but then you think about what happens with Jaden Ivey's role. He was looking so good, so that kind of complicates things. I thought about CJ McCollum, but even CJ's got an extra year on his contract because CJ's been phenomenal. One of the few people with multiple 40-point games this season. He will help bridge that gap, but he's also got an extra year on top of it. So again, what happens with Jaden Ivey? But I would again just love for them to do something progressive and just keep adding so they can go ahead and for sure make that run. Because right now they'd have to win 2 playing games, one against the Bulls and then one against one of the Florida teams, Orlando or Miami. And that's gonna be tough. At the end of the day, that's gonna be tough for them to do. But it's still a lot of season left. The way they're playing right now, they could end up as the 8th seed and they only have to win 1 game. You know,
my boy K got how many turnovers y'all think he got this season?
So we're talking 44 games.
He probably at least had 5 in each game.
39
games.
I'm gonna say 200.
Wait, hold on.
What did you
150,
200?
You said 39.
Are you calculating?
Games. I was going to, but I didn't. 39 games. I'm thinking like 4.5 turnovers will be his average. So whatever that really goes into. So
like 180-ish.
Okay, there you go. I'm trusting Mike's math. 180 is my guess.
He has 177.
Oh wow, that's a great. That's 180 was.
The one thing that's crazy though about the 177 is 132 of them are live ball turnovers, which is 74.5%. And last year, in perspective, in 62 games, so almost 25 more games, he had 212 turnovers. He ain't that far away from 212 in less games, and so they definitely got to find a way to shoulder some of the responsibility off my guy. This has a full breakdown of all of his turnovers, dead ball turnovers.
Where are you looking?
Turnovers, PBP.
Oh, okay. Shout out to PBP. Free site, by the way. Free site.
Bad pass out of bounds, 19 of those turnovers. Travels, he's done 3 travels. Shout out to the footwork. It's phenomenal footwork.
Will say how many points are coming off of these turnovers?
Who traveled last night in that corner? That I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, he's exceptional in the playoffs. He has no turnovers in the playoffs.
Wow. Oh, he is
bro, he just got you.
One of my buy or sell things, I got a bunch of like very smaller ones because I figure we get some bigger picture ones from the rest of y'all. Bam Adebayo on Kel'el Ware minutes together? Are we buying and selling that being a successful unit?
I saw it the other night and it looked really good too.
I
just think Kel'el Ware just gives them like a whole different look than what Bam would give him. When you talk about like his attack at the rim and finishing, he's a lob threat. He's such a dominant force in the paint that he just gives them a whole different look than what Bam would bring.
I like it. My only issue is they waited so long.
They did. He waited way too long. Yeah. Like when they drafted Kel'el Ware, I was so excited. We gonna get Bam at the 4. He gonna start shooting threes. Is what he's doing. They played 15 total minutes, and most of those was just last night against the Spurs and Wemby. And in those minutes, they had a net rating of 66.
Well, I think also Spo probably just also didn't trust him that early. Like I feel like Spo is one of those.
Trusted Thomas Bryant that you end up trading.
Yeah, but Thomas Bryant is looking good in Indy.
Yeah, he has.
So. Maybe
what they got to do with Kel'el Ware in Miami, where we traded him from.
I guess maybe Spo just saw more in Thomas Bryant.
I just think it could be something really cool happening in Miami once they ship Jimmy Butler ass out for whatever, and they buy into Kel'el and Bam and Tyler Hero and
Jovic.
Hopefully they get another ball handler for Tyler Hero in the Jimmy Butler trade because he also could use some stuff we mentioned with Kay Cunningham. Yeah. And obviously we're not thinking about them being the 8th seed and going on a run, but it could be just more interesting of a team now post Jimmy Butler.
I wanted to see what you had said about it first, Pete, because we were talking not too long ago. I just like the philosophy of having two like quote unquote bigs on the floor, just having more size on the floor at this point, because everybody's trying to run small and everybody's spacing it out. But if you have two people that can protect the back line, I think it just like vastly improves your defense and ability to get out there and run. And it's just a lot better than having to constantly worry about people that are undersized at the position.
And they're both mobile bigs. Like they both can move their feet a little bit. So like that's also a plus.
I think we're moving out of that, Mike. I got all 30 teams in front of me, right? Let's just walk through real quick. The Cavaliers.
That's just one team.
Their front court is I'm starting with them because they're at the top of the
right.
Evan Mobley, Jared Allen.
That's a 2005, 2003 type of front court. The Boston Celtics. They're still small because they
isn't Tatum.
Yeah. The Knicks.
Karl-Anthony Towns
and 6'4" Josh Hart.
Yes, Josh Hart. Yeah.
I don't know what they would have done if Mitchell Robinson was healthy though.
Yeah.
Good point. Because I think there's a world where they both play a bunch of minutes together.
Right. Yeah. So that's like the traditional, power forward center. The Bucks with Giannis and Brook Lopez. What that is, KB? We can't see. Oh, the applesauce.
It's a green go-go squeeze, but
that's crazy. Like,
that's how one of my golf books usually is because I have a green screen.
Like you drinking a brick wall.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't have a virtual green screen. I got the actual thing, so that's why it's doing that.
The Bucks, Giannis and Brook Lopez.
I think
they count.
Yeah.
The Pacers.
No.
Pascal 6'9".
Miles Turner.
That's a traditional. That to me, that's how front court used to be.
No, I thought we talked about two bigs, not because Pascal is a traditional 4-man, I would say.
Yeah.
And I also feel like the way Miles Turner play, he's such a 3-point shooter. Like it's not.
No, but defensively, he gives you everything that a big gives you. He protects the rim, like what Mike was hinting at. What I'm going off of is Mike said that teams are going small. The Pacers are not small with that front court. That's like how a traditional front court would look. Whether he's 7 foot, that is not a small forward playing power forward. That's a traditional power forward. The Hawks, Jalen Johnson, and whether you want to Capello or Double O. To me, that is a traditional type of front court, and it's not a small ball lineup.
You know what? I think that Jalen Johnson is more of a 3 10 years ago or 15 years ago, more than a 4.
Yeah, he is.
I think he's a 4. I think he's a 3 in today's game, but when you look at how he's shaped up, he's like a Amari Stoudemire. He would be like an Amari Stoudemire. We're looking at his game now because everybody's perimeter centric, but he's a 6'8", 215 power forward. Al Harrington type body, Jermaine O'Neal.
He feels kind of thin compared to some of those names you just said.
Let's see. Let's look up his size. Pause.
I would say the same though.
Yeah,
I think he's versatile. Like
6'9", 220.
220.
Yeah. Athleticism.
I think he's versatile as hell.
Yeah.
And Jermaine O'Neal 6'11", 225.
That's 10 pounds lighter than Pascal.
But hearing a lot of those teams, I agree with you, P. And then just the fact saying
Al
that
Harrington,
like teams are getting back to
body.
that, like we need size out here. But there's still a lot of teams that do run small. And I
Carlos
think that like
6'9", 260. Did he look 260?
6'9", 260?
No, yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Am I looking at the Lakers version? I'm trying to find a Bulls one. Which one was the Bull or the Jazz?
You know that hairpiece weighed about 2 pounds by itself.
Let me see how much y'all think Brandon Bass weighed. And Brandon Bass was actually short. He was like 6'6", right?
He probably 270.
240.
Okay.
245.
I'm good at guessing weights.
Interesting. 6'8", 250.
6'8",
250. Why did he feel like he could have been shorter? And Paul Millsap, I know was bigger. He was like 260.
264.
264.
Damn,
Mike,
really?
you know weights, Mike?
I think it's probably
248.
6'7", 257. 260.
Oh.
So yeah, but yeah, the Hawks, Paolo and Wendell Carter, or whoever you want to put in, because obviously they got next man up mentality. The Miami Heat are a bit small. Who's there for?
They're running a bunch of different units nowadays.
Yeah, they are.
Jovic.
I've been seeing him go off the bench.
Hayward Highsmith.
Hayward Highsmith has been a collective starter. The Pistons, Tobias Harris, I'll give y'all him. He's more of a 3 in today's game. He's a 3 that's playing a 4. The Bulls,
Vooch and Pat.
no, that's small. The
Call him
Sixers,
he ain't done shit to get a nickname. Don't even shorten his name. He is Patrick. He is Patrick until he give us a 3-game stretch of him looking like an NBA player.
the Sixers are small because Caleb Martin is going to, when they're healthy, he'd be there for.
Yeah.
The Nets,
They've been playing for a couple
Johnson.
years now too.
Cam Johnson and Claxton.
So now I'm gonna go out west. The Thunder, J-Dub is small. The Rockets,
He like
They've
6'5".
been running small.
He's
They've been running small.
super
Yeah.
small. The Rockets at normal health, Jabari Smith Jr. and Şengün. That's the the Grizzlies when they go JJJ and Zach Edey.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the biggest lineups out there.
Aaron Gordon, Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers, Kawhi and Zoo. Nah, that's small still.
Small.
Lakers, LeBron and AD. That's small. LeBron ain't really a power forward. The Mavericks, PJ Washington and Gafford or Lively. It's small in size.
It's in the middle.
Play style,
It's in the middle.
Yeah.
I can see it.
But my point all was that I think a lot more teams are going back to more of a traditional lineup look, because I feel like if we asked this question 5 years ago, a majority of these teams would have had a small forward being
Like
their
a
starting
Tobias
power
Harris
forward.
type at that point. I definitely could see that.
Yeah.
And I
Or
think it's just,
the Rockets would have tried to see if Jabari can be the 5, right? That was the thing where it's like, we know he's a 4, but we're going to see if he can be the 5.
They did that when Şengün was out with his injury, and that's when they went on that streak.
They did do that.
He was
They did
super.
do that. Yeah.
He was super. I just brought them up because, again, we're talking about a very small sample size at this point against Wembanyama, where, like, I think teams are starting to figure out what works best against Wemby since the turn of the calendar year, and it's really just like, don't guard nobody else. Who else is going to make us pay? Devin Vassell, he's on and off. Stephon Castle been giving us some good games because nobody's guarding him right now. So they've just figured out, just throw 2 bigs, throw 2 real NBA players at him, and he's going to at least struggle a little bit. And if the other players pop off, then they pop off. And that's what happened against that Miami Heat game. So I'm excited for Kel'el Ware. He gets up there, man. You throw a lot, anything close to the rim, he's going up there and getting it. And with Bam kind of this roamer, I think the defense could be pretty good too. So
Let's just see more than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because that defensive rating is a 60.
But even when Kel'el was on there by himself, he was hooping. I'm like 25 against Wemby and them. Come on, man. I love that for him. And they have a positive net rating in the 350 minutes that he's played by himself without Bam so far this season. So
+2.
Yeah, that's pretty damn intriguing.
I can give something that I'm selling. So I'm selling a Timberwolves stock for right now. I'm not excited for the future. I just think that they really fumbled the bag when they Karl-Anthony Towns trade, and I just don't really know how much I trust this front office to turn around. They haven't really shown me anything that I feel confident in. I feel like McDaniels also has been a disappointment. I feel like this whole team has been a disappointment outside of Anthony Edwards. Even he's still shaky with it, but like I still feel like when you're talking about the future and assets, they don't have any draft capital. There's nothing really concrete there other than Anthony Edwards that I really believe in. And I just think when you go on a conference run like that, and then you fall back to where you're a team as low as they are, it's just kind of hard for me to really believe in the future. And knowing that at least Julius Randle's going to be there to the end of the season. You're not trading him. At least I don't think so. So I don't
know, Darrick.
I think it's a possibility, man. That one game, not last game, but the game before that, they said Julius Randle left the arena before the game was like officially over. Like, oh, that ain't great. I mean, he's had games where he literally didn't close. And the other night he did close. He ended up with 6 points. Yeah. And they didn't close to Rudy. I think there's a world where they do get off Julius Randle. Obviously, they're not getting anything back of value because he looked that bad on the expiring contract, but I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't there February 7th. That's all I'm saying.
I've been seeing it. I sent it to y'all in the group chat yesterday where it's like they may be a team that tries to get in on a Jimmy Butler sweepstakes, not to acquire Jimmy Butler, but that's an avenue where they can find a way to trade Julius Randle. I haven't seen the name Jaden McDaniels mentioning that as well. I think that's more of a stretch. I think that's not out of the realm of possibilities, but it doesn't seem like they would do that now. But the Julius Randle situation definitely seems like, I'm anticipating him being traded. When you have somebody leaving before the game is over, that is to me, number one, that's unacceptable on Julius Randle's part. As a guy who's already been traded, as a guy who's seen a team have a lot of success while he was hurt, as a guy who's been, looked at and dissected for all of his body language and on the court, emotions or whatever. You have to, at some point, take a look in the mirror and understand that people are watching all of this stuff, and it just goes into a certain narrative. Because Julius Randle is not a bad basketball player at all, but he's not a great one. And when you throw in all of this added stuff, teams are just going to not. It's not going to be worth it for them. And he's already in a weird spot with his market because we don't know what that is and what it's going to be in the offseason. But then if you add all of this into it, it's like I'm damn sure not touching a Julius Randle with a $25 to $30 million bag. No, why am I doing that?
And the Timberwolves got some reassurance too. The way Naz Reid been hooping. If I have to get rid of Julius Randle and bring in a wing or somebody who not a power forward, I might be okay with that. The way Naz Reid has been hooping. Yeah,
Naz Reid is honestly their second best player, and it's kind of crazy when you say that because he's just coming off. He's coming off the bench too. So like Naz Reid essentially should be the starting four, but politics wise, they're gonna go with Randle.
He would have closed out the trade, man. I'm trying to find a trade. It just doesn't really exist.
He would have closed out too, but he had kind of got like heated in the moment when after I think they called a foul out on him and they kind of sat him down real quick. And Julius Randle came back in the game. This is only like 2-3 minutes left, so it's like they're prepared to give him 30+ minutes a night easily. I would say.
Yeah, and honestly, that's probably just a situation that Julius Randle also isn't used to. He's not used to his backup being this guy that the team empowers, which essentially Naz Reid's just a better basketball player right now. And I just think that Naz Reid deserves those minutes. And I just don't think that's something that Julius Randle can comfortably accept at this point in his career. He's just coming off being multiple all-NBA teams, maxed contract. So like he's probably still in that mindset that he's that guy. And he probably feels like the team is holding him back versus him holding the team back. And essentially, it's him holding the team back.
But you could argue that the team orchestration is one of the reasons why he's not playing so great. Same thing with right?
I knew that when the deal happened.
But this is why I say Julius Randle has to take some type of accountability and looking inward. Because my thing to Julius Randle, what team is going to be properly constructed around you?
Other than that Knicks team.
No, not even then. You did what you did with the Knicks, right? And you know what the Knicks did? They went and built around Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
Even in your all NBA thing, the Knicks said, let's go get him. And we got him. And you know what? We're going to build around him. So even in your greatest moments, it wasn't enough for a team to say, this guy. It wasn't enough for a team to say, we're committed to that. And so the reality probably is that you're not going to get a team around you built. But what I thought with this trade was, number one, I thought it was cap when everybody was saying that the Timberwolves want to trade. I thought it was cap. I thought that was a bunch of bullshit where people just wanted to talk because it was the Knicks. Number two, I still, though, thought that it was an opportunity for Julius Randle to kind of prove to the NBA that he can be an effective player and what his reality role is going to be. Whatever team he goes, I mean, okay, sure. He can go to the Nets and just have a team built around him if that's what the Nets want to do. I don't think they're going to do that. So theoretically, every team he goes to, he's going to have to compliment an Anthony Edwards. He's going to have to compliment a Jalen Brunson. He's going to have to compliment a Scotty Barnes. I don't know, but he's going to be a complimentary player. He's going to have to compliment Cade Cunningham. No team is saying, yeah, y'all know what to do. Bring in Julius and all shooters, and we just finna rat this out. That's not existing anymore. And I'm not saying it because, again, I think Julius Randle can be an effective player, but he has to want that. He has to buy into that. And I think the ironic thing about this conversation, and it's beyond Julius Randle because we have this conversation for a lot of players, your value, I personally think, goes up when you show that you can be a star in your role.
Yes, exactly. I agree.
Your value goes direct opposite when you're steady trying to be that all-star player when the NBA isn't looking at you. Hey, congrats. You did that. You were an all-NBA player, most improved, and all-star. Congratulations. But we still don't perceive you to be that type of player, even though you were able to do it. Imagine if Andrew Wiggins walked around like he was an all-star still. It would be like, brother. It would be like, just relax. So I feel like,
know what situation it reminds me of? Andre Drummond. When Andre Drummond said that he was walking around feeling like he was still a max player, and he eventually had to buy in to being his role, and he was almost out the league. And then once he eventually bought into being a nice, good backup center, he started to see that those contracts kept coming in.
And that's a great point because Andre Drummond went from a guy that, major money to like $1 million salary. And it's like, that's the reality of the NBA. So it's like, find your role, find your niche, find the reality. I know it was fun being an all-star. It was fun getting all the shot. I get it. But at the same time, is that worth now not having any market? What, you know what I mean? I'd rather be a number 2 or a number 3 on a really good team than to be a guy that's switching teams every year because I can't find a market.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me though. And again, I'm not an NBA player.
Doing that, your market gonna dry up. Now you ain't got a market.
Yeah, you're right. Because it's going to be so much evidence of, hey, if he's played on 5 teams in 4 years, why should we want him? Yeah. But again, I never played in the NBA. I don't know what it's like to be an all-star. I don't know the psyche behind it and the transition from being that to being on the team where you're getting less shot. I don't know. So again, I'm not saying it like I have all of the answers for Julius Randle's career, but as an outsider looking in who have seen him play basketball, I think that the Timberwolves should have been a stepping stone. Even if it wasn't his permanent spot, it should have been a stepping stone for him to exit with teams being like, man, Julius Randle actually was underrated with the Timberwolves. We should look into that. Like, he's kind of conformed his game a little bit. Anthony Edwards was playing off of him. He had some good defensive moments next to Rudy. He was able to still have some of his signature moments. I thought a season like that could still unfold for him. And it looked like it was kind of going that way because he had some explosive games to start the year. But as of late, we have him not closing out. Like KB mentioned, I didn't even know I heard that, but I was like, I thought I heard it wrong. I thought he like left the court. He left the arena before the game was over. How does that even happen?
I think that right there is just like, that's disgusting.
Anybody got the backstory? How does it? Did he get ejected? What happened? How do you leave the game before the game
I'll look it up again.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have to leave the bench, go to the locker while the game is going.
He probably went to the locker room with like some sort of probably a little nagging injury and then just decided to leave. That's the only way or he got ejected. Those are the only 2 ways I could see it happening. But if he like literally went to the bench and then just got up.
He didn't get ejected because his game log is 33, 38, 34, 27 against the Warriors, 32, 30. So the minutes say you usually can see the difference of minutes when somebody gets ejected. His minutes don't reflect any ejection. But yeah, the second game of the season, he had 33. That's the game he made those 5 threes. He had 35 against the Suns and a 3-point win, 35, 7, and 4. Like, I felt like he was going to have some of those games occasionally, not as much as he did with the Knicks, but then he would just be a solid basketball player that plays off of Anthony Edwards. And, I remember when they had a little stretch where they was teed out, they was turned. I also remember a stretch where Anthony Edwards was saying that everybody's playing for personal gain. And then they went on another little streak after that where they felt good. And y'all came in the podcast like, man, this could turn around. No, they're too up and down.
I got one that's Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm selling Rudy Gobert.
About time.
Too late.
He won DPOY last year. What do you mean about time?
About time. This is not just for Rudy. This is personally you. You've been on the Rudy
But like, were you saying about time? Like last year he was bad or something? Like I'm late to the party. He literally won DPOY. He literally got voted the best defensive player in the league.
We know what he do in the regular season, KB. But there was a reason why we was turned off about it. Because when it come down in the playoffs, it's just not the same.
You sound like one of them motherfuckers.
It's just not the same no more. It's not the same no more. So about time, man. About time.
So
you probably still think that Luka shot was Rudy Gobert.
It was Rudy Gobert's fault that Luka Doncic is one of the 3 best players in the world.
He's a foul next time.
Either way, this season, we've seen regression on both ends of the floor. Rudy Gobert is already a bad offensive player for the entirety of his career. I don't know if y'all saw the possession last game with like a minute left, and this is the game.
Turned it over?
No, he had a shot at the rim, like 2 feet away, and he passed it out to Jaden McDaniels.
He turned it over. He might have, but like I know exactly what play he was talking about because he had to be like 2 to 3 feet. I think even the commentators like he literally had a bunny right there and he passed it up.
And I don't think people recognized how important Mike Conley was to Rudy Gobert being at least an average offensive center. He was below average, but like the best version of Rudy Gobert, a lot of that was Mike Conley. And now that Uncle Mike is showing his age, Rudy Gobert just got an extension like 3 months ago? And he's 35 years old, a big, and it's like he already moved bad for the entirety of his career. So I don't know what that aging looks like. But on both sides of the floor, I find myself watching the Minnesota Timberwolves and just thinking, damn, Rudy Gobert just doesn't look as good as he did just last season.
I give some credit.
Could that also be a morale thing?
Too. I think Cat's offense helped, like the spacing and Cat's playmaking. I think that helped Rudy Gobert as well.
Do you think there could be a morale thing? Like the locker room's just down just because the team success isn't down, and like he probably not getting along with Julius, and like the effort just might not be the same just because he's not happy.
It could be. I mean, the only time I ever felt this way about Rudy defensively,
he's not happy. He just got an extension.
Was the first year in Minnesota, right, when things weren't great. That was the first time I've ever like came to the podcast like I don't know about Rudy's defense right now because he just wasn't the same player. And then a year later is when they got the Karl-Anthony Towns thing to work out, and then he won DPOY again. So who knows? I'm looking at it and saying like, man, Rudy, Father Time don't lose no battles, and it feels like he's jumped the shark, if you will. And who knows what that extension gonna look like by the end of it.
I mean, what if next year he just comes back and defensively he at least looks like the same Rudy? I mean,
it's possible.
Yeah. I mean, that first year in Minnesota, like you said, it did not look that great. It looked like there was regression at that point, and it looked like he was probably going to be the worst contract in the league at that point. So, I mean,
I'm looking at it right now.
He was 32 years old. What's the extension?
Oh, I'm not looking at it contractually. I'm just looking at like Darrick talking about being on the court, with this team, the morale, playing with Julius Randle. When they're on the court together, their defensive rating is 111, offensive rating 114. When it's just Rudy, the defense is a lot better, but the offense takes a big hit. And when it's reverse, the offense is incredible when there's no Rudy and it's just Julius, but the defense takes an even worse hit. So maybe it's that. Maybe, and it's not to blame Julius, but it's kind of like you said, the first year with Karl-Anthony Towns took some time, and Rudy, maybe, it takes time to collectively have this defense that allows him.
Can you see the minutes with Nas and Rudy?
I absolutely can. Somebody can pull up that contract. KB was asking about the extension.
I got the contract.
I know. Wasn't it 3 years, $90 million?
So he has 43 this year, 35, 36, and then a player option for 38. So that's when he's 35 years old, player option for 38.
What part of these numbers do you want when they're on the court together?
Yeah, when they're on the court together.
They've played 511 minutes together. The net rating is 1.7.
Damn.
Their offense is 110. The defense is 108.
Yeah, so, the offense is the problem right there, huh? Because the defense is doing their part, 108.
So I mean, yes, it's nothing out of this world, and I think their net rating is lower than Rudy and Julius because their net rating is a 2.3 when they're on the court together. So yeah, it's that they have a hard time figuring out the combinations of getting a little bit of both, right? It feels like if I want every lineup that I'm naming, there's either a significant defense and there's no offense, or there's a bunch of offense and there's no significant defense. And we all know when you talk about offense, you might as well not even bring up 27. You know what I'm saying? So they have to figure out the combination. And I think that's the I'm not even trying to be funny, Mike. I just think that that's the next phase of this Minnesota Timberwolves team where Connolly is going to have his work cut out for him. They're going to have to figure out how you can empower Rudy as a defender. How do you keep Anthony Edwards comfortable as an offensive player? And I felt it was interesting seeing Jaden McDaniels' name being, I don't want to act like it was overly thrown out there, but they said it potentially could be traded. I don't buy into that, but they definitely have to figure out something because I feel like they paid him knowing what he could do defensively. But like myself, I think that they thought there was a jump in offense that was going to be coming around. And we get spurts of that. I feel like as of recently, we've seen a little bit of that, but on a full consistent basis, he doesn't give you that. And they're going to need that going forward, especially if Julius Randle ain't going to be around. That was one of the things that Julius Randle was supposed to bring, like another scoring guy. And I mean, yeah, you just kind of have Anthony Edwards shooting a bunch of threes. There's no Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns production offensively, even what he does, like that's a big hole that you're missing, man. That's a very big hole that you're missing. I don't know if anybody can feel that by themselves. You'll need a combination of guys.
Another example of NBA front office is being woke for no reason. Let's trade the third best player in our franchise history for flexibility.
You know what's funny? I said this one.
Why is he third? Who are the two people ahead of him?
KG and K Love.
Oh, okay.
Somebody just recently sent a recording of me saying that, before we transitioned to numbers on the board.
You know what bothered me about that clip, Darrick?
What?
Nobody disagreed that Cat shouldn't be traded. What me and Pierre were saying is more realistic that he will be traded.
Yeah.
You're thinking about what they gave up for Rudy and the lack of asset that he was.
Yeah.
But we were just saying it's more realistic that Cat gets traded. And guess what? The motherfucker got traded.
And I was just like, the front office will regret trading Cat because he's just going to be so important to what you wanted to get done.
Because what is that flexibility they mentioned? What is that going to lead to? Naz Reid's going to get an extension. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's going to get an extension. Then what? What do you do with Julius Randle? What? It just, again, front office is being woke for no reason, bro.
I also remember in that clip, I believe, not in the clip, but like when I think about that conversation. I also remember, I could be wrong, but I feel like I went back and stressed it. Like, yo, because we kept going back and forth. I'm like, listen, we're not saying, we're just telling you the reality because he just got traded and what they gave up for him, they're not. And I think that's why you said in the clip, like, they're just gonna wash their hand. Yeah, bite the bullet. Like, no, they're not doing that. We don't see organizations do that. You don't see a team trade. How many picks was involved in that trade?
5 first-round picks.
No, and then talking about we're gonna bite the bullet. Hell no.
And I understand that front offices don't think like that, but sometimes I feel like you have to think like that.
It's easier said than done. It's very easy for you to say this on StreamYard versus going to talking to the owner and saying, I just told you that we should commit 5 first-round picks. And now I'm telling you we got to bite the bullet there. You will get your ass fired.
Yeah.
This ain't NBA 2K. You would get fired. Imagine that. Imagine you own a team. And Mike says, hey, listen, we got to get this guy. Trust me. We need to give up anything for him. And the owner like, okay, let's make it happen. You come back again. Mike say, listen, this going to sound crazy, but you got to trust me. You ready? You say, yeah, what we got? They want 5 first-round picks. You say, they want what? Are you crazy? And Mike says, listen, trust me. It ain't even really 5 first. It's 3 and some swaps. Rock with me, man. This can be the guy. And you like, you know what, Mike? I trust you. We need a winner. Mike goes and he makes that deal happen. 8 months later, Mike comes to you and say, we need to bite the bullet. And you're going to be like, yeah, no, we really shouldn't. No, you're immediately going to walk away from him, and whoever your consultants are or your friends, or you go home to your wife, you're going to say, I might have to fire this guy. I just gave up 5 first-round picks, and now he's telling me we have to bite the bullet. That's the reality. I feel like fans and certain people would just sit around like, man, it just didn't work. And hell no, that's just not the reality. This ain't 2K. Bite the bullet. 5 first-round picks.
Yeah, and that was before Rudy Gobert's last DPOY. He had no value. So you like, they might be a 500 team. Regardless, whichever one they traded at that time, could have been. Didn't want it to be all doom and gloom for the Timberwolves here, but that's just.
Wow. Unfortunately, that's just how their season has been.
Yeah.
I'll throw another one out there. Speaking on biting the bullet and trades and everything, are y'all buying or selling the NBA trade deadline in general? Just y'all overall feeling, spiking rumors, then it's been quiet. What you think is tangibly going to happen, or realistically, are you excited? Or are you preparing for disappointment? Y'all talk to me. Are y'all buying or selling the NBA trade deadline as a whole?
I'm selling it, mostly because I don't want to get my hopes too high, and then the day happened, and I don't remember if that was free agency day one. We were all so excited.
Yes.
And Drummond was the only person to switch teams or something crazy like that. And I remember 2 years ago, I made a video that's like, hey, y'all, don't be expecting nothing crazy to happen at the deadline. And fucking Kevin Durant got traded. So like, I'm here with no expectations, and if we get fireworks, I'm excited about it. But if we get nothing, my expectations were already at nothing. So I'm not even tripping. I think we might see a Cam Johnson trade. I think we could see smaller moves here or there, but I'm not expecting Jimmy or Kevin Durant or Zach LaVine or any of these bigger names to be moved.
The old saying, real quick, Darrick, is you don't know how good you have it until it's gone. And every time one of y'all bring up that Kevin Durant night, and I remember I had just moved in here and I got up and recorded a video. We like, just as best you can, go back and think about that moment. Like, the notifications was pop, and he was traded. We're probably never gonna have anything like that again.
Because it didn't even seem like it was gonna happen. Because Kyrie just requested a trade. Kyrie was traded right before that, and I guess KD quietly requested his trade. Usually, these reporters, they have some sort of inside scoop on what's going on. The fact that nobody had any sort of like rumors or leaks about this is very, like, the KD's camp and the Brooklyn Nets camp somehow kept that in house. No one got that info, and we were just surprised.
I'm gonna buy on this trade deadline just because I think this season there's a lot of teams that kind of already know the writing on the wall, like maybe the Pelicans, maybe the Sixers. If they just already their season is starting to look like it's coming to an end, and they might be able to make moves. Also, I'm still thinking that Jimmy Butler gets traded too before the trade deadline, the way it's going, and teams coming up and saying that they're open to help facilitate the deal. I'm going to buy into this trade deadline.
Yeah, one of the things I did say I was selling, since I had said I was selling Zach LaVine's trade stock. If a team really wanted Zach LaVine, I feel like it would have already been done already. Like, he's been in trade rumors for like the last 2 seasons, and nobody's done it. So like, I think at this point, I think he's probably just going to stay a Bull until the end of his contract.
He's a for lifer, huh?
I think, honestly, I think that'd be the best time where, like, when a player gets traded. Because honestly, eventually that asking price is going to drop to a point where teams are going to be like, you know what? I'll take that deal. Like, when it's been on the table for so long, eventually somebody going to take it.
I'm just saying, NBA front offices have gone to walk. This dude can average 25 on 50, 40, 88, and they like, nah, he got 1 extra year in his contract, too much. Teams need this type of production, and they just don't want it. And I said in my video, if Zach LaVine don't get traded and he play out his contract, so be it. He's a fun guy to root for, even if we suck.
Honestly, I like how Zach has been such a professional through all of this. Like, it hasn't turned into like what Jimmy has done with Miami. Obviously, I know Pat Riley said some things that really offended Jimmy. But this Zach LaVine, even though he's probably wasn't happy with being a Bull and he wanted to move on to another chapter in his life, when you see him around the team and everything is good and happy and like the vibes are great. He's such a good team guy. I'm just happy that it's never spilled into the locker room.
That's why I don't like it, bro. Zach LaVine is one of my favorite players, and I feel like I don't talk about him no more because, number one, the Bulls suck. Number two, I can barely watch the Bulls. I remember every time I used to go see my little brother EJ, I would go to one of his games or whatnot. He used to be like, you feel like Zach LaVine and feel your boy? He was younger, so that's how he used to talk. Because in his mind, Zach LaVine was just a dunker, and then Zach LaVine became this complete player or whatnot. And I feel like I don't feel like it even feels like I'm a Zach LaVine fan as much as I used to be because you don't get to play on that stage. I would love to see Zach LaVine on a Denver.
Zach LaVine to me is a better player than CJ McCollum, but the gap in the contract, do y'all see that being like that 10 or whatever million less that CJ's making, like I can value that because I know I'm getting some offensive production for him versus Zach.
Yeah, I think a front office would definitely look at that and they would say, I would much rather play $10 million less for a player that's on the same tier damn near as the other one. So yeah, for sure.
Because Zach's making about 40 something, right?
Yeah.
And I think CJ is like 30.
Yeah, CJ's contract is a descendant contract. So his contract is cheaper.
He's one of the things that I was gonna buy into, just as the league should look at him just kind of like they do these other players that they're talking about. Like obviously Jimmy Butler and Zach LaVine, these are the better players, but I think CJ McCollum has been so hot at the start of the calendar year. He's got to be worth a look at for some of these teams that are looking to add to their team.
I agree. I think I said that like a couple weeks ago. Like CJ McCollum gotta get traded for. Yeah. If I was running a team, we would be taking a look for sure. I haven't heard anything heat up, so I mean, I guess teams aren't, but I would. I like CJ McCollum's game, because it can,
like
go with a lot of different things.
They got Davis. Hey,
Damian Lillard would not be mad. And Darrick will probably go get a Bucks tattoo in the middle of his chest.
He finna get the Damian Lillard jersey back tattoo. He's gonna say Lillard with the 0 on the back.
Yeah, Darrick will not complain at all.
Oh man. Yeah, CJ's also 4 years older. So I'm gonna ride with Zach on this one. Thank you.
Yeah, I know why you want to ride with Zach.
Oh man, Zach LaVine is in the 97th percentile in points per possession added, plus 10 per 100 possessions. So that's all I gotta say. And he's at least an average defender. Pick up the phone, call us.
Somebody will.
Yeah. What else y'all got?
This is relatively small. We barely got to spend any time on it, but I just want to put that out there because it's something I've been like really just noticing this season. But Ja's vision, his assist numbers ain't crazy or nothing like that, but the way he's kind of seeing the floor this season, it's very like, it looks like he's taking that next step where he sees plays before it happens, whether it's from a pass from he's bailing out the air, or he's got to like make a pass to a double team or see the help before it comes. He's doing a lot of that stuff. I seen one time where he just told somebody cut through. It looked like he was about to hit the cutter and he hits the wing as they're trying to help from the cutter. So I love the way he's passing the ball. I think that's a next step for the Grizzlies team, is they have a lot of people that can score the ball. I mean, Desmond Bane has had time where he's been by himself rocking out. Now we know he can score the ball. Jaren Jackson Jr. has had hella time by himself. We know he can score the ball, and they have so many weapons. I think Ja's playmaking could unlock a better version of them.
Yeah. I bought into it when he does do it, but when I heard that him and Zach Edey, they spent a lot of time sitting down watching film and breaking it down and learning like where they need to be at. That's when I was like, oh shit, he's really like he wants his big fella for the future to understand everything, and he's sitting down as a point guard and teaching him the ways as well. So when you're doing that with your rookie big as a point guard who's been in the league for a few years, and it's not like he Chris Paul, like Ja Morant is still young. He could have easily just went about his business and let Taylor Jenkins and the coaching staff do all that. But no, Ja Morant, he wants to sit down with Zach Edey and learn these coverages and learn where Zach Edey should be. And I thought that was amazing.
The best and worst thing about his passing is how flashy he get. It's so amazing for us at home, but occasionally that flashiness does end in a turnover and lead to a breakout. But man, it can be incredible. Like, I made a video but never published it because I didn't love it. It was one of those short 2-minute videos for Hinter Hoops saying that Ja Morant's superpower is that he can see the future. And basically what you just said, him mapping the court out, saying cut through and then getting that's like, obviously many players do that, especially these high level playmakers. But Ja Morant has done that to a whole different level this season compared to some of the last, where like his anticipation, and that's not even just on the passing. That's like when he's in the air, y'all know Ja can get around and not get blocked. His anticipation is just so ridiculous. I like that. Yes, after yesterday's game, he called Jaren the superstar, the franchise. And it's just really interesting. Of course, he's bumping up his guy, but like Jaren has been the better player this season, right? So it's like so cool that both of them can have this type of relationship where they both can be all-stars for the next 10 years, maybe, if Ja Morant can stay healthy that long. So I'm not mad at that. I'm buying that too, Mike. I'm buying that too.
Don't forget the other guy.
He's starting to turn it around.
Desmond Bain had a great game last night. I mean, yesterday morning.
Yeah, it is weird to say something like that. Yeah, Daniel Gafford yesterday morning, 31 points, 10 rebounds.
Hey, bro, that was such a crazy game.
They said, "Hey, we putting you out there for trade talks. Let's pump you up a little bit."
Shout out to my boy Daniel Gafford. I just rated him like 4 days ago.
You sure did. I was watching your stream, left for like a few hours, came back, and I was watching Daniel Gafford. Like, what the hell is going on?
I done rated him a couple times now, so I guess I got to be familiar because he'd be like, "What up, Mike?" Or like, "Appreciate you, Mike." You know,
what is he be doing? What is he?
He's playing 2K. He be playing Red.
He's playing 2K. Oh,
yeah.
Is he good?
I never stayed long enough to actually watch. But he be on 2K a lot, so regardless if he good or not, he having fun.
Hey, you got to get him in your runs.
He don't want to piss him off before a game.
Yeah, or it's like he come to the runs and he weak, so now we start yelling at him.
And he lead a Discord.
Y'all not an NBA player, bro.
Saying to Daniel Gafford, you don't know basketball, man.
You play with Luka. How you don't know what to do on a pick and roll?
All of this happens, right?
I play with my Luka Bill.
All of this happens. He goes into the playoffs. He has a stinker. They talked to him after the game. He said, "My mind just wasn't here today." Some off the court things have happened, and I just can't do it. And then Luka and Kyrie, they all despise our podcast now.
But that's the end. You play 2K with Daniel Gafford. You let Daniel Gafford know, hey, we be playing Marvel Rivals too. Boom, he hit us up with Luka. Now we got Luka playing Hawkeye in our Marvel Rivals game.
Yeah.
And then Luka know Jokic, so then Jokic can teach you how to do a magic trick with the cards.
Or he put us on with some horses.
Or he take us to see 50 Cent.
Oh,
right.
Or I ran out.
Let me bring another one to the table. Because I don't have an answer for this one. I'm curious what y'all think. Are you buying or selling the Raptors' top 3 players being like a cohesive unit together one day? With it being Emmanuel Quickly, RJ, and Scotty Barnes?
I'm not. Ooh, I want to say.
So let me give you a reference because so far this season together they played 88 minutes together.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm buying it, just because we haven't really got a big sample size of it. And I think this is just a weird year where Emmanuel quickly hurt his ass in the first few games. Scotty Barnes had his face messed up in the first few weeks. So like it was just a lot of freak injuries that happened so early. And I just think honestly they complement each other. I think RJ Barrett does what he needs to do off the ball, with the ball. If Scotty's not in the lineup, he can run the offense. I think Emmanuel quickly does a little bit of everything. I think they all complement each other and they don't really get in each other's way.
If they played again 88 minutes, what do y'all think their net rating is in 88 minutes?
88. That's so
negative
small.
A lot. Negative
yeah,
a lot.
they're such a bad team. It's probably negative.
A lot. Negative a lot is a good guess. It's minus 27.37.
Yeah, I just don't know because that's why I'm getting hot. Derek, how you feel that way? They barely played.
That's why I feel that way. I'm buying it.
He's just buying it because it's low. I haven't really seen Emmanuel quickly. Like, I haven't seen him to where I can kind of see potential in that. And I'm talking about as a trio. I know Emmanuel quickly could hoop, but I bought into RJ Beard. I bought into Scotty Barnes. I damn near bought into Grady Dick more than I bought into Emmanuel quickly for the Toronto Raptors.
Why you emphasize it?
Yeah, you put a lot of.
I only emphasized because it's like that wasn't the name he mentioned, but I think it should be included into that trio or into that young core.
I was just talking about it wasn't about them being the core, it was about them being the contract attached to the 3 players more than anything.
No.
For what it's worth, last year they played together they did together 440 minutes at a net rating of 3. So it was positive in those 400 minutes last year.
Contractually, no. Contractually, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Just because again, you got those 3 guys. Pretty soon you got to pay Grady Dick. That's just how the NBA is working, where you got to start thinking about that immediately. Then I'm really hoping that they can get a top pick this year. I just don't know what place they're going to be in and where they want to commit that much money to 3 guys. They would have to turn it around like absolutely next year. They got to get Cooper Flag and then we compete. And it's just like I don't see that. Are you
trading Quickly or RJ? Because obviously they're not trading Scotty.
Quickly.
I guess It depends on where they land, right? If they get the second pick, then they're more
Harper.
comfortable getting Dylan Harper, and maybe that means Quickly's out. I'm gonna do one tankathon span and let's see where they land at.
Okay.
With the first pick in the 2025 draft, the San Antonio Spurs get it.
Okay.
Golly.
Damn.
Number 2 is the Charlotte Hornets, and number 3 is the Toronto Raptors here.
Damn.
They get Asa Bailey.
Damn.
Damn.
They feel like a swerving type team. They might take somebody else outside of Ace Bailey.
Spurs?
Maybe. I don't know.
That would be crazy if the Spurs got the top pick again.
Insane, bro. Insane.
Yeah.
I would be happy.
Rigged.
The first one where they got Vic, cool. Now 2 times in about 5 years, rigged.
I thought they were
winning too much.
It's crazy because they were looking like a legit playoff team, and now they're the 12th seed again.
They still can.
But
They right there.
Yeah, it's part of the growing pains of being a young team. That's all.
Zach Collins, Keldon Johnson. Zach Collins, Keldon Johnson, go get you somebody, man. That contract, those 2 contracts together is like $40-some million. I ain't got nobody in mind, but like they could use somebody that can score a little bit. And he might be on a team like this one. But
the Bulls will find a way to get fleeced in that deal. You know,
no draft capital. We just get the players.
Speaking of Bulls blankets,
they're like a blanket that I got,
man.
That is your blanket.
Hey.
Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. NBA Finals.
I got that shirt.
Penny always like to lay on Magic Johnson's head. I'm like, get off my damn cover.
Yeah.
What up, Penny? But yeah, Darrick, what you got?
Let's see what else I got on this note.
That weekend's background you got.
Don't play with me. One thing I'm buying is Jordan Poole. I'm buying into Jordan Poole being a legitimate, like, good quality starting point guard in this league. I thought last year, everybody was quick to talk down on him. It was a big adjustment for him. He was coming off of being Steph Curry's backup, and he was always good with the Warriors. He had that protection, obviously. When you playing behind Steph, Clay, Draymond, your role is very minuscule.
He ain't had no protection, DMills.
But like, on the court, though,
he had protection. He would still beat up.
On the court, though, your role is so minimized, and you able to come out and just be you. Now he had to go into the Wizards situation where he had to learn how to be a point guard, and I think he's slowly learning and growing into that. As with his time this year, as you see with the Wizards, I just think you see a completely different player than what you saw last year.
Yeah, I think he had to get a time to get adjusted. It was new, it was a whirlwind. I like Jordan Poole. I've always liked him.
Yeah, he had to learn how to be a vet.
I never sold on him though. I ain't.
He did have a crazy year last year, by the way. Like it was a really bad year, and it's not even just like stat wise, but some of the moments, like the moment where he was like not even listening during the timeout and he didn't know the play coming out, like that was a crazy year for him.
There's a lot of memes from his last season. This year, you might got a few, but it ain't nearly as many as last year.
This year, he focused on hooping, and I just think that's beautiful.
Last year was just too much for him. Got traded from the Warriors to the Wizards, got punched by a teammate. You know, like that sucked. You know, like I don't want to be on a Wizards team. I was just competing for a championship, but because somebody did something to me, now everything has that sucks, bro.
Because he can't take words. Because I said something. He want to sucker punch me.
And I probably was responding to some shit he said, knowing him.
Right. I didn't just attack him.
And how would y'all have reacted if y'all was Poole and Draymond commented on your post saying, I am really sorry?
You know what I always view as I've never been punched like that, especially by nobody that as I'm calling my brother. But time does heal all. I've seen worse. We know people who shot at each other that have amended. So time does heal all. I just think that Jordan Poole is rightfully so not over yet. And what Draymond has to do is he has to accept that when you really are sorry, you allow the space. You allow them to heal. You're not going to continue to. We get it, Draymond. He said he's sorry a bunch of times. All right, then. If you're truly sorry, then let it be. But you have to be able to take.
What you laughing for? That ain't funny.
I just remember it was late. It was late at night. It's like 1 a.m. and Draymond is replying to tweets saying, "I really am sorry." Like that is so crazy.
You know what's funny? I was playing Marvel Rivals, and Colton has said something like, "Draymond Green just said he's really sorry to Jordan Poole." I thought he said that in like a press conference or something like that. Like he was asked a question.
But y'all don't remember.
And then later on, I lay down and I opened Twitter and I saw Jordan Poole's tweet and I clicked the comments and it just had the Draymond. And I was like, what? This is what happened? And I was like,
and it's not even to Jordan Poole. There was a Mark Spears tweet that was quoting Jordan Poole. I love those guys over there. I love most of those guys over there. Yes. And then Jordan Poole replied, Draymond replied, "I really am sorry." Mm-hmm. Like that's crazy. Like couldn't even imagine that happening in real life, and it did.
Remember he dropped the podcast them to that same night.
They did a fucking documentary series. Yeah, like come on, bro. Come on.
It's all handled wrong. When you do something like that and you are sorry, again, you got to take what comes with it. You have to allow the person to be mad because you have to understand where they're coming from. Because Draymond know damn well if somebody punched him and if David Lee punched him in his eye when he was a young player on the Warriors, how would you feel? How forgiving would you have been? Or how much time would you have needed? So you gotta do that. And I feel like Draymond has kind of talked about it so much on his pod. Man, I wasn't able to celebrate with him. You know, like, yeah, you sorry, but now you got to just allow him to, you know, do what he got to do to feel better. And there's also the reality that you have to accept, even though you're sorry, is that he may never forgive you. But that's when you're truly sorry, that's fine. Mm-hmm. You know you made a mistake. You try to correct it as much as possible, but you're sorry and your love, if it's genuine, it's supposed to allow you to understand that he might not forgive you. And again, Draymond, what would you do if you were the young player who got punched by his vet in practice and TMZ was able to plaster the video everywhere? Then you had to be traded from a great organization to a shitty one. What would you do? How apologetic? No matter how apologetic the person was to you, what would be your reaction? Yeah. And if you're going to try to convince us that you would have been accepting, I think there's a lot of us that will probably call bullshit on you saying that you would have reacted different.
That shit still lingers to this day. And obviously we talk about time being passed, but like anytime they're like mentioned or they're playing together or like, you know, going against each other in the court, it's what a lot of people talk about. Like it's not even really like a beef because it's just like Jordan Poole didn't really start that, but it's just like that incident is going to be way longer than any time they even do.
Say what it is, Mike. Say what it is. That is going to be attached to Jordan Poole's name for the rest of his life. When Jordan Poole is a 42-year-old guy with kids and he's dropping his kids off to school and the other parents find out that Jordan Poole's son go to the same school as my son. Jordan Poole, why is that name so familiar? It's the guy Draymond punched. That's his life for the rest of his life. That's what's going to be attached to his name, unless he goes out and wins 3 MVPs. But even then, he'd be the MVP who got punched by Draymond Green. So it's like when that happens, like again, we only see one side of it. The reality is he had to live with that every single day, and his entire life changed because he had to go from Golden State, San Francisco, which we've been to. He had to go to Washington, which we will
be there again, February 15th. NOTB Live, get your tickets.
He had to go from winning championships and being around Steph Curry to now he's over there. And again, I'm not disrespecting anybody, but he's in Washington with Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah,
I will say very different. It's just he might have a look. He might have a couple.
He was also a champion.
He probably had a couple chicks. He's met with San Francisco. All of a sudden, he get punched and got to go to Washington. You know what I mean? Your whole life changed.
Yeah, you know. A few like on January, he did get his lick back when they played. He gave it as 38, 5 and 5. Like he had a good game.
That ain't him getting his lick back there.
No, it would have been better if he got the win, but he was able to put on the show.
Yeah, he did. He did. I know that had to feel good for him. I was happy for
him. I got one more. Another one where I don't have a perfect answer to, but like. The Clippers, ignore the fact they lost to the Bulls last night without a couple guys, but like the Clippers have exceeded all expectations. Kawhi Leonard is back, and though he don't look like a full 100% Kawhi, he still looks competent enough at this moment in time. And I'm assuming that's going to look better and better as the rest of the season go on. What do y'all think the ceiling of this team is? Are they like a low-key conference? Oh, that's the ceiling? First round exit is the ceiling.
Yeah, I think so.
For who?
The Clippers.
No, the second round is the ceiling.
I would say second round.
Best case, the ceiling is the best case scenario, Derek. Everything goes right for them. You saying it's a first round exit?
Yeah, I just don't, because like when I look at the standings, I don't really see them beating any of the teams above them.
They're the 5th seed, right?
Let's double check. Right now, they're sitting at the 5th seed. They go against the Denver Nuggets in this hypothetical series.
Yeah,
I got the Nuggets in that series.
We all do. We're saying they're ceiling. Again, best case scenario. So Kawhi is healthy. Kawhi is playing. Defensively, we see what they're doing. Norman Powell is still playing at his level. They could win that series. As good as the Nuggets are, the Clippers could win that series. That's a ceiling. Now, the reality is probably that they would probably, I would say that they could be a first round exit. But the ceiling is the best case scenario. If I say Victor Wembanyama, what's Victor Wembanyama's ceiling, Derek?
Best player of all time.
Right. Does that mean that that's what's going to happen?
No.
That's what we saying with the Clippers. Yeah. I think I don't know if I would pick them to win, but if in their ceiling, they could be a second round. They could make it to the second round.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
I guess so.
That is crazy. Second round. Best player of all time is a ceiling. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong, but that's crazy to hear it.
I mean, when you're that good in your second season, I mean, the trajectory just stays that's just where you're going.
No pushback, brother. It's just crazy to hear out loud. No pushback, though.
You think? Oh, never mind. That's a whole.
No, say it.
Even if Wemby does become, like, let's say that good, do you think he'll ever have an opportunity to take that away? Because I think about the way, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, the way Michael Jordan is looked at post his career, and I'm assuming the way LeBron James is going to be looked at post his career. I feel like it will be almost impossible for somebody even come close to those type of dudes in the overall conversation about who's the GOAT, whether it be Wemby or my son, y'all's son. I just feel like it would be tough.
It would just take a lot of accolades and a lot of accomplishments. He's gonna have to do it. He's gonna have to do a lot. It's a lot to overcome them.
But even again, I'm not turning it off. Damn, we doing a fucking LeBron versus Michael Jordan thing. There's nobody in the league with more accomplishments and accolades than LeBron, and people still are saying, nah, not enough.
But look at why though. Because what all he's done is not even close to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
The ring conversation is extremely different. You're blurry, KB. You got to get focused. The accolades, as much as LeBron has, Jordan got him has more. And Jordan was in the league for less time. LeBron James don't even have a defensive player of the year.
But I mean, he doesn't have that. But we talk about overall accolades. LeBron has more accolades because of the longevity alone. He's a 20-time All-Star. He's a 20-time All-NBA player.
He's a league in all-time scoring. Like that's true.
But some of the real basketball people don't impress them because he played how much more basketball.
But I think I'm not even going to do it. But that's part of.
You didn't say what, Mike?
I wouldn't say all that. Just that, like, it sounded like you was damn near taking away from him being amazing for so damn long.
No,
I'm not saying you do, but they say like the conversation is stupid.
All I would say is
because we're going into a Twitter conversation. You know damn well I'm a guy who had a video saying I'm sleeping in my LeBron jersey. Look at the shit behind me. There's LeBron right there. I got LeBron shoes. I'm never taking anything away from LeBron. I'm just saying.
I'm not talking about you specifically.
LeBron
I'm talking about in that conversation.
18-year-old player.
Right.
Michael Jordan didn't. LeBron James has played how many years in the NBA?
I don't even want to do it.
We don't have to. We're not going to do it. I'm just explaining it to Mike. How long has LeBron played in the NBA, Mike?
22 years.
Longer than he's been not in the NBA.
Has Michael Jordan has that?
No.
So a lot of people, especially when they're going for Michael Jordan, I don't have a dog in a race, but people who are going for Michael Jordan, like my dad, if you and my dad was talking right now, these are the things that my dad would say, and that's valid. For a guy who played 22 years, you better have more points than a guy who didn't come straight out of high school, a guy that only played 15 years. You damn near played a decade more basketball than him. You better have more points. That's what they're going to say. I don't think that that's wrong.
Yeah, but I think the counter to that is like, hey, there's a lot of people that have been in the league for 22 years. I have been the top 10 player for 21 of those years, bare minimum. And again,
Absolutely.
that's it. That's the end. That's the end.
And that's exactly why people are going to say that's why you're second.
And that's why I'm saying that if Wemby does end up being amazing, again, he hits the ceiling, it will be hard to put him in. Because even Even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was the GOAT before both of these guys came into the league, his accolades are ridiculous. He was all-time scoring until LeBron just broke it 2 years ago, and yet he's third. Everybody has him number 3. He's not even in the conversation for 1 or 2.
The thing Vic is going to have over Kareem and
this is so crazy to even say aloud.
I was gonna say, yeah,
I know.
And like, this is again for the people at home. This is the best case scenario. This is the best ceiling. Again, we're talking ceilings.
This is why I'm talking slow, by the way, because I'm trying to make sure the one case he's going to have of every name is that Victor Wembanyama is literally something we've never seen before. And you can say that for these guys too. Kareem wasn't something that you had seen before, but you're talking about a 7'3" guy who is shooting threes and playing in a perimeter-centric era where he's allowed to shoot 8-9 threes in a night. We just never seen that before. Mm-hmm. And so that element makes it real alien-esque. And to do that and then have accolades, to have quadruple doubles and 5x5s, and to be able to say you could potentially win 7 in a row defensive player of the years, that unbelievable factor is crazy. Michael Jordan, as great as he is, to me, Michael Jordan is the greatest player that ever played a game. But Kobe was very close to him as another 6'6" shooting guard, played for Phil Jackson, could defend and score. It was very similar. I really don't think you're going to be able to compare Vic to anybody, and that factor alone kind of helps him in that case. I think it's just going to be it's extremely hard to be that number one. It's going to be hard to compete with Michael Jordan because I think LeBron is the greatest case. As much as LeBron James has done, unless you're going to go 6 out of 6 times Finals MVP, in the time span that Michael Jordan did it, walk away from the game. I mean, when you talk about 15-year career, I don't know too many people that's getting out of their career as much as Michael Jordan did in the time span. The time, like, what do you call that? The efficiency in which Michael Jordan did what he did, by the way, is unbelievable. It's literally unbelievable. And again, I love LeBron James. I love Kobe Bryant.
I was just about to bring him up too, P, because we had somebody damn near copy the exact. He tried to be the GOAT.
Which is smart. More people need to do that. If you're trying to be great, why wouldn't you not just look at the greatest and say, let me do everything you did?
Well, everybody.
And it's honestly like, as much as I love Kobe Bryant, he didn't come close to what Michael Jordan had done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. Let's take that back. He came a little close.
He did. But he
came a little close.
I mean, a lot of people, they don't even got Kobe on their top 10.
Which I think is ludicrous. If a player comes into the league, KB, and
I'm gonna fill my water, but I still hear. I'm filling my
mute
water.
your mic while you leave.
I will.
If somebody came into the league, right? If Shaedon Sharpe at his draft, when he first got drafted, he put his hat on, and they said, "What do you want to do in this league? What do you see yourself in 10 years?" And he says, "I'm a rival Michael Jordan. I'm gonna be the next Michael Jordan." That sounds crazy. When you look at what Kobe Bryant career looks like when he's done, I mean, my goodness, what he have 4 rings compared to Jordan 6. He went on a 3-peat. He almost had a second 3-peat. He's won MVP. Now, when you get off into the accolade,
yeah, I mean, he's the closest thing, but that still don't make him close.
No, yeah, I'm just saying he's the closest thing, but he's definitely not close. But I think if any other player comes in and let us know that they're trying to be the next Michael Jordan, they won't even come as close as Kobe, is what I'm saying.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that, like, listen to this. Matter of fact, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna bring up LeBron.
Okay.
And I'm gonna bring up Jordan. I already have Jordan up, right? So let me go to LeBron James, who is my glorious king, I must say. I don't want anybody to get understood. LeBron is a 20-time All-Star. Jordan is a 14-time All-Star. LeBron won a scoring champ title 4 times. Michael Jordan won it 10. Michael Jordan is All-NBA 11 times. LeBron is All-NBA 20. They're both as a Rookie of the Year. Michael Jordan is a 5-time MVP in his 15 years. LeBron is a 4-time MVP in his 20 years. 6-time All-Defensive for LeBron. 9-time All-Defensive for Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is also the Defensive Player of the Year in '88. He's a 6 times Finals MVP. LeBron is a 4 times Finals MVP. So, I mean, again, LeBron has accolades over Jordan, but when you get into Jordan shit,
I'm gonna counter though a little bit just for LeBron. I think obviously we know he could have probably had another MVP.
Hey, no, I'm not doing no
what
probably
year?
no ifs.
What year? Because you're not about to take away the one I'm thinking you're trying to take away.
We're not doing no probablys and ifs.
And then also, this is not no.
Mike,
this is
we're
a
not
fact
doing
too.
it, Mike,
This is
because
a
I can
fact
do the
too.
same
This is a
shit.
fact too. You probably can. You probably
Jordan
can.
took off 3 years. If he plays in the 98, 99,
That's
come on.
speculation. That is speculation.
You're speculating. You're speculating.
I'm talking about rings. I am talking about rings.
No, you said LeBron should have another MVP.
You did just say that. That's speculative.
That's fine. This is not speculative right now. The scoring in the league is the talent for scoring is a lot different in the league, and I'm not saying that Jordan
That's out of Jordan's control, Mike.
I can sit up here and say,
Are y'all
it's
really
a fact.
doing this
It's a
debate,
fact,
though?
Catrell, time out, Catrell. Do not do that because all I did was state facts.
Mike is making the debate happen right now.
He's making the debate happen.
Look,
Mike,
I'm just putting some counters. I'm just saying. I'm just adding to the conversation.
But Mike, the reason we shouldn't do this because anything you say, I can counter. Michael Jordan played in
and that's why the debate never matters.
Michael
because nobody's ever gonna be like, you know what?
Michael Jordan
LeBron
played in a more physical time. Right?
Oh man.
Michael Jordan also played in a time there was a lot more parity. Michael Jordan did not call up Isaiah Thomas and then when he went to say let's get a big three. Correct?
That is definitely correct.
He waited
till he bust their damn ass.
Yes. He didn't go to Miami. Right?
And they still retired his jersey. How about that?
Did he go to Miami, Mike? Yes or no? Did he go to Miami?
He did not.
Okay. Kind of crazy that Miami did retire.
They still retired his jersey.
Because and it's crazy that they're going to retire LeBron's. 2 different reasons. But come on, man. Come on, man. And I'm not here to say one by itself, but you don't want to do the speculative. You don't want to do this, Mike.
They really be catching up on you, huh? You don't see them coming at all.
It just can't. I'm sorry.
Usually, you kind of feel it, like it's
like you get a little itch in the back, and you.
Has LeBron ever averaged 37 points in a damn season?
No, not too many people have though.
Yeah, okay.
Jordan did that without the 3-ball evolution too.
Okay. Talk to him, Darrick.
All right, y'all. Come on.
And that was so crazy about it. How many threes a game was he making back then? Since you got it there,
yes,
1.5.
0.1.
He was giving their head straight buckets.
He shot 18% from 3 and averaged 37 points per game.
There you go, Mike. That's a conversation for Bron. He shot 18% from 3. That's ass.
I think that's damn near impossible for a guard to do now.
Yeah, you won't play.
You won't play.
Guard shoot 18%.
Shout out to LeBron though, man, because LeBron took everything he could to make it a conversation. If you were going to rival Michael Jordan, you had to do it with longevity. I'll tell you one thing, and year age 39, Jordan was an all-star and averaged 20 points. LeBron James at 39 gave you 26, 8, 7, was an all-star, was all NBA. Like
he's a pass first player, P.
I never called. I mean, I guess so.
Pass first player, most points all time.
Right. I mean, I guess, yeah, when you break down his game, I guess. But
at 16, LeBron was dogging Jordan.
They don't want to bring that out, DMills.
That's speculatory. We don't heard. LeBron be lying and shit sometimes. So.
I mean, Ron Artest said it beforehand, so was Ron Artest lying?
Oh, did he really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Ron Artest told the story before Bron, and then the Kelsey brothers asked him about the story to confirm whether or not it was true.
It was an open run. Who gives a fuck?
He was 16 against what, a 38-year-old MJ?
But then, how like LeBron's the cockiness when he was like, "Who was guarding you?" And he said, "Nobody. I was unguarded."
Well, I don't want to do this because I love LeBron. It's gonna sound like I'm on LeBron ass. Ask LeBron what happened when Jordan Crawford dunked on him. When I'm tapes, I want to see that. Both of the GOATs are the same. They cut from the same cloth. All you can do is talk about these L's that they took. You can't go watch. They said, "Hey."
I don't even get why LeBron would want that footage deleted. It's just a dunk.
Just a dunk.
That's I mean, you're playing defense right there.
And let's not say that LeBron stormed in and say deleted. Maybe it was somebody from his team who overreacted. You know, I hate putting it on people when we don't really know. But I can't believe I just went to Basketball Reference and named out accolades, and Mike said, "Hold on, LeBron coulda, shoulda, and what?" I cannot believe.
And then followed it up by saying that was speculatory for something.
Yeah, we ain't finna speculate, P. We ain't doing that. Hold on,
man. My GOAT ain't take no years off.
He couldn't.
He ain't need to.
No, he couldn't.
We was penciling him in for the finals every year.
To lose the finals every year. My GOAT ain't never lost. You know LeVar Ball, how they made that a slow. Yeah. He really should be giving royalties to
LeBron was carrying them to the finals though. Jordan, before the other people came, he's carrying them to them first round exits.
LeBron was getting his ass swept.
This is why this conversation stinks.
Who is this point guard, P?
Huh?
Who is LeBron point guard?
Who was Michael Jordan's point guard? Fuck it. Who was Michael Jordan's second best player? You don't want to go there because you really don't know.
Booby Gibson. LeBron punched one of his teammates. Did LeBron punch one of his teammates?
He should have. Maybe he should have. I'll close it on this. You love LeBron, right?
You know I do. I'll put the jersey on now.
Where is he at in your room? Because I don't see him in the background. I see Kobe, Shaq, Kobe. Number one. Secondly, when we go to the podcast, I ain't never seen you bring in no big chunky LeBrons. I'm the only one that got them fat ass shoes.
I have a pair of LeBrons.
I've seen you with a bunch of Jordans.
I got some LeBrons too.
I know you got some weak ass Martin ones.
I got to find LeBron.
I was just joking.
I have a pair of LeBrons. They too big. They feel like bigger people. I can't do it.
Shout out to Darrick because Darrick has had a few LeBrons. But Mike, you got more Jordans.
I do.
I know. So it's the next time you want to talk that talk, this one we put down for right now. We uplifted this one, and
okay. We done with the 90s, Pete.
Oh man! All right, let's we're already about 2 hours in. Do y'all want to get to the ancient generation, or do y'all want to get to some questions?
2 hours in? Oh, yeah, 151.
Let's do the questions from the fans.
All right, so I briefly just been looking at them through this episode, so I picked out a few that might be interesting. I'll say them, and y'all just say play or pass. All right, if y'all don't want to answer them, y'all don't think they're good enough, just pass on them. The first one comes from Jan Martinez. If college hoops were to drop, what college would y'all commit to?
It's got to be an Illinois school. I just feel like that's what
so
I'm
Illinois.
I might.
You're not going to Eastern Illinois in a video game, right? This is supposed to be the best version of you.
Whoever wants, because when you did college football, like they give you the teams that have interest. So it depends on those. I don't have a team off the top of my head.
I might go Baylor too. I like the colors.
I'll probably go to Boise State.
Wow.
I'm gonna be like Bo. Whatever got the best swag, that's where I'm going.
You want to be the next Chandler Hutcherson
or Mizzou?
Why crazy? Why specifically those schools?
Ole Miss. I'll go to Ole Miss.
You just saying colleges now. You got no reason.
No. I like.
Where's Ole Miss at?
Mississippi.
My boy. Just make it.
You know he's a geographical person.
I know, but he don't know colleges.
Oh.
Okay, give me the reason why you picked Boise State.
I don't know.
Idaho. You're gonna move to Idaho. You just said you want to go to Idaho, brother.
I wanted to uplift some.
He wants the potatoes, Idaho potatoes.
I want to uplift smaller schools.
So you said Mizzou and Ole Miss.
But would y'all say they like top dogs? Like
they're big schools. They're in the big conferences.
Okay.
Going to a small school was like when Gordon Hayward went to Butler. Steph Curry at Davidson.
Okay, then let me go to Butler then.
Go to Weber State, man.
Weber State. Weber State.
You're gonna go to Weber State.
Lehigh, like CJ McCollum. This moment time I'm going to Power 5 conference. I'm going to a small school.
Go to Weber State, Derek.
And I want to make the tournament. I want to go on a crazy run.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to Oregon State. I don't know where I would go. That's a good question, but yeah, kind of like college football, they make your player, and then the interest goes up. I wouldn't even play like my career though. I have to go into coaching and do my own recruiting before I do anything.
I like that question.
This one comes from Kruger. What is your most optimal way to chill and watch games? Are you on your couch? Are you at the desk? The perfect way to watch, in your opinion, not the one that you do regularly.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been having a good time sitting on my couch and like just watching the games on the big screens, especially if it's like a national TV game. Like I feel like that's the best way, especially if my girl's in the room with me too. Like it just feels like we're just watching it kind of together, even if she's not paying attention. I know it kind of takes away from when we be in the Discord, but I definitely enjoy watching the game on the couch. Because only like one game.
My favorite way to watch the game, I won't lie. Like when we did the New Year's thing, and we was all, I like watching it when we kind of all together. When we go out of town, we like at the hotel bar and we watching it. That's my favorite way to watch it with my friends and just kind of being able to have like banter in between the game. Like, damn, you see that dumbass shot he just took or whatever. But the most effective way for work purposes is to watch it, you know, in my office like right now. Yeah. But I do like watching on the couch. I've done that the last couple of days because y'all been playing Rivals, so it's been no need for me to get on 2K, and I'll just watch the games on my couch instead of being here.
It's a different feeling from like I'm sitting right here and I'm kind of listening to the I guess commentary of the game sound like through my headphones versus like it's on the TV and it's blasting. It's kind of filling the house up. Like
I don't listen to the commentary when I'm in Discord with y'all, so that's the difference for me. When I watch on TV, I'm listening to what they're saying.
Yeah, for me, it's probably sitting at my desk because I know if I sit on the couch, it might be one of them days where I might fall asleep. So like
that's real, bro. That's real, bro.
So like if I'm sitting at my desk, I know for sure I won't fall asleep sitting here. And also for me, I like watching the 40-minute condensed versions so that way I get through all the commercials and all that shit. That way I could just legit just watch.
No, what's wrong with a commercial, man? You sound like the ancient generation. You just in such a rush to let a commercial vibe out.
No, I took a page out of Darrick book, man. A couple years ago, Darrick was like, I just watched the game the next day. And I remember in real time, I was like, that sound lame as hell. You already know the outcome, and then you're gonna watch. No, this season I've done so much of that. Like
that's because Darrick was saying that by choice. If you watching a game and you miss it, you have no other way to watch except the next day. But to say, I'm just chilling. I'm just going to the movies
and tomorrow I'll do my job.
I'll just watch it tomorrow. It's like
I feel that though, KB, because a lot of times, like I said, I've been more going into like I haven't been boxing or doing all that type of stuff this year as much. I've been kind of zoning in on like maybe 2 at most 3 games that I really want to lock in for the night, unless it's like a crazy every team is playing. But I'll definitely go back and be like, oh, this game ended up being a really good game. I'll go back and see what happened in that game, you know.
Yeah, I feel like I'm more attentive when I do it that way as well. Like, okay, I know that this team won. What exactly did they do?
What exactly happened? Yeah.
How
or I'll look at like a lot of times I'll see like, oh, the third quarter they had 40 points. The other team had 15. Let me really lock in on this third and see kind of what happened.
Yeah, that's what I do on NBA.com. Like if I see you go around, you look at things that happen, and if it's anything that's intriguing, you can really go watch a fourth quarter. You know, if a guy has 21 points in the fourth quarter, NBA.com got it to where you can see every shot. If Cade Cunningham has 7 turnovers, I can go see how every turnover looked. That saves a lot of time than watching an entire game over. So that was my way. I wish we had the high-low theory or the high-low.
Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace.
Because that helped me a lot. On the next day, I could write out everything that I wanted to see and how I wanted it to happen. But yeah,
the NBA shut it down, man. All right, next one comes from Emin. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. What is one team you've watched more than you expected this season, and one team you've watched less than you expected?
The Clippers, for sure. I didn't really know how to feel about the Clippers going into this, but James Harden having his type season, and I think the others playing along, like Zubac has obviously done well, like with a more increased role, Norman Powell, and I really enjoyed the tandem of like Terrence Mann and Chris Dunn when they were really getting minutes and they were like the 3-and-D wings, but I would definitely enjoyed the Clippers so far.
For me, it's probably the Detroit Pistons. Like obviously they've been really good, so like they've been a team that's kind of like must watch. Like you kind of have to tune in, and probably the least is probably Dallas, just with all the injuries and everything. So like I can't say I've been locked into a lot of Dallas Mavericks games like I was last season.
Yeah, they were one of my top teams last year. I don't think they're going to crack the top 8, top 10 this year. The team I've been watching less of as well, though, 76ers, it's just a bad watch regardless.
I think that's probably across the board naturally. I think once you don't have Joel Embiid, essentially your viewership is just going to drop significantly.
Pelicans. Definitely was excited for them coming into the season. And the team I'm watching more than usual. I think Darrick, he hit on the head with the Pistons. I think that sounds accurate. And maybe the Cavs. I don't think I expected to watch the Cavs as much as I have this year.
I feel like I watched less Kings game too. Probably because they got off to such a slow start. And
that made me tune in a little bit more, but ironically, when they got on a win streak, I kind of dialed back. Not to sound like I'm only here for negativity within the Kings, but I'm just being transparent.
Next one comes from our boy King Frosty. This is for Darrick and Mike specifically. If you can be any Marvel's character, who would it be and why?
Why wouldn't it be for you?
Well, because I'm reading the questions. I'll answer it too, sure. But
I would probably be. I'll probably be my favorite character, and that's Wolverine.
Really?
I like the ability to harass tanks. I think that's.
So you're thinking about video game. I just meant just Marvel characters in general.
Can we start right here for a second?
Yeah.
You really like that Wolverine character, but according to the group chat, you're not that good on him. So I'm confused.
No, they said that I use them sometimes in bad situations. But like we had a game yesterday where it was a good situation. And I used them really good. So like always.
So you kept using them even on the
Mike's reaction to that was crazy. He said,
he had a good game. He had a good game.
Y'all think I'm a bad Wolverine?
They literally kind of said that in the group chat.
I think Wolverine as a character is so situational. So whether or not you're a good Wolverine or not, sometimes it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah. I feel that when I'm playing them too.
You're definitely way better than just like 4 days ago Wolverine or last week Wolverine. I'll say you definitely got a lot better at that character.
I probably from watching Team Captain.
Shout out Team Captain 001, man.
I've been watching them a lot.
Bro, I'm having a tough time figuring out who I want to be. Like, I want to be somebody with some cool ass powers, but I feel like I might pick Spider-Man.
Yeah, the answer is Spider-Man. Who doesn't want to be Spider-Man? The stakes are never too high. He was a billionaire philanthropist, so that's not a bad one. But like for Spider-Man, and in most cases,
don't forget Playboy with that too, KB. He's a Playboy in there too.
Spider-Man stakes are never that high. He's protecting one city. Now, occasionally, in the MCU, he help protect the world, but like some bad guy robbers at an ATM, I'll take care of that. And I get to be a super athlete, indestructible. Come on, man.
Let me be Iron Man. I got a bag, I got a suit. I'm living in a high technology life. I can be with that.
I was thinking about some of the characters that can go invisible though. Like, y'all don't think that would be cool?
No, because you're a freak. What instances is invisibility useful except for being freaky?
You gotta definitely be doing some crazy shit.
You gotta be doing some malicious stuff.
I'm going invisible to rob this store or some shit like that.
Yeah. Maybe I would pick somebody that can like Quicksilver can run real fast, so I can transfer myself to San Francisco.
What about Hawkeye? Like the accuracy thing.
Well, my number one superpower, and if I could just take one for now, would be extreme accuracy.
But like, what am I doing with that accuracy? Am I like the sniper for the government? You
are the best YMCA hooper of all time, Darrick. Mm-hmm. If you want to run the gym, you literally won't miss. You won't miss. You could do a lot. You could do a lot with extreme accuracy.
You're not in the NBA, but you do the All-Star 3-point or like the 3-point contest just because you that good.
But do you remember they had that one guy who's known as the best shooter, normal shooter? He went on Inside the NBA with Omar Raja and all of those dudes, and they clowned the hell out of him. And he like made a video like
said it ruined his career.
Yeah.
Why'd they clown him?
Because he's not a basketball player.
He was missing. So you talking all this talk about being a shooter and you missing?
I think Kenny the Jet Smith beat him in a shootout?
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
So wasn't the greatest.
I didn't even know.
They did the same thing we would have did. Just talking shit, but he acted like it hurt him. Like maybe it did, but
I got a few more, and some of these we will save because I didn't realize we were going for this long because we still got to get to our book club stuff. One comes from Mateo. This is a genuine question for DMills. With all due respect, which is, something crazy about that happening when he started that way, but it's not. How did you go from your fit to being goofy Brian Griffin t-shirts to consistently solid fashion? Did it happen naturally? Love
you. See his shirt now. It ain't really that retired.
If you would have told me you was rocking some Bluey, I would have went upstairs and got some Bluey too, man. I got a few Bluey.
You got a few Bluey shirts?
Hell yeah.
I think I got like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Yeah, it's just a dad shirt. That's all.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's my girlfriend, and she also helped me a lot. But then there's also this dude on Instagram. I wish I could always just find it. He's like he's like my size type of dude. He's a black dude. I actually just bought some beard stuff from him.
He bald headed?
Yeah.
I've seen him. He be wearing a crossbody bag?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he did a little get ready with me, and he's also bald too. And he had put me onto some beard stuff that he used from Target, and I went and ordered that.
So he's your muse.
Yeah. He's definitely somebody who I can use as inspiration just because we got the same body type. And he's tall.
I think he might be a little bit bigger than you, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah,
his videos are like real aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
So yeah, him and her have been like big inspiration. I wish I could find his IG, but I don't know what it is.
All right, last one, then we'll get to the anxious generation. This is from Zachary Thompson. How much of your enjoyment of the sport of basketball deprived from the modern NBA? How much enjoyment have you found outside of the NBA, like at the collegiate level for both men and women? How much value do you place in other forms of sports beside the NBA?
I think it's I like this question because be ready for Teed Up. That's coming real soon. I'm recording the first episode tomorrow. And Teed Up is exactly that. It's a basketball show. It's not an NBA show. It's a basketball show. The NBA is obviously going to be a big factor in it. But I like this question a lot because I feel like it is a difference. I used to say that on the podcast years ago, where I think a lot of fans, they consider themselves basketball fans, but they're NBA fans. You know what I mean? That's why it'd be hard for me to be like, how you ain't watching college? You know what I'm saying? Like how you ain't in tune with what's going on at the other levels because that's basketball. You know what I mean? And I love that the women's game has grown stronger and it's getting more popular because again, that's another form of basketball. But I think basketball for me is something that I get at every level. I go to my brother's games every single week because I love the basketball there and the environment. Sometimes you get bad basketball, but you get bad basketball at the NBA level as well. I love college. And I understand, right? I understand the NBA is the highest and the best level. So I'm not telling anybody they need to watch high school basketball the way that they consume NBA. No, it's two different things. Obviously, the players aren't as good. But if you really love basketball, you're going to get it at every form. So the modern NBA ain't got really shit to do with my fandom of basketball, how much I love it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for me, I'm definitely more of I'm not really in tune with the other levels, but I do enjoy watching them when I do have time and I catch them.
Right, he was acting like y'all was acting like y'all was gonna cut in the Bennett game because it's right up the street. Ain't none of y'all show up.
Yeah, I watched it online.
I think my love for basketball
excuses.
truly just comes attached from like honestly just playing it as growing up like that more so than like watching the games and stuff like that. Like obviously the highest level is like what I'm most like that I like to watch because it's like you get the best type of product there, but it came from playing basketball.
I think a lot of my fandom is deprived from the modern NBA. I would definitely say, but I do find myself nowadays like venturing off to those other things, like the W this season. I watched a good amount of the W. Watched the women's tournament. I can't say I'm tuned into women's college basketball in the regular season, but this year, as far as college basketball goes, I'm not stupidly locked in, but I definitely find myself watching way more now than I did any time in my life. And then now I've just been watching Unrivaled as well, the other women's 3-on-3 women's league. So like I think I went from one of those guys he's talked about, like I'm more of an NBA fan, but I think I definitely just love basketball in general. And
I do want to say, because I know how people are, there is nothing wrong if you are just an NBA fan. I just know how people are whenever you say something. It's like, but there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. It's just a difference. Basketball is a sport. The NBA is a part of a section of that. That's all. But I know I've said that before and people get offended. And it's nothing to get offended by. It's just a fact.
I used to think that I didn't have time to care about any other stuff. Like that's when I was really into the trenches of just like growing the YouTube channel, growing the shows, yada, yada, yada. But I think that I recognized that I could do that as well, and that's when I started this season. I watched more football than I ever did before, or baseball over the last couple seasons. And then I think I just like competition because I fucking watch esports. I watch competitive chess. Like I like to see people compete at the end of the day.
Growing up though, I mean, for me, I thought people who liked sports was lame as hell. Like I didn't.
Wait, what?
Like when I used to skateboard and stuff, I used to think people that was into basketball all the time. I used to think that shit was so lame. I used to look at Roscoe and be like, bro, Why are you watching basketball?
Get up and do something, Roscoe.
It's so
Why y'all-
crazy because when I had my skateboard, like, and I don't regret my skateboard years. It's a hell of a time, but like, I wish I would have had a damn basketball in my hands and I would get better at that, man.
You're just the
Yeah,
first person I can imagine that, but you're the first person I heard say it. But I that makes sense though. I would imagine because I think basketball players view people skating the same way, right? Like you,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You
it
use
was
that as an
like-
excuse. Dennis
it was
Schroeder
like-
was a skateboarder and an NBA player. The fuck?
DMills, he was in the minority. How many times did you walk out in the places we seen people skateboard?
Nobody.
We was the only people skateboarding. Everybody,
only three.
The other
It was
ones
three
that
of us.
was white.
Yeah.
nah, it was definitely bro. We definitely had some people pull out their skateboard that had some color, some melanin in them.
Yeah, we did.
I know like two others, but I'm not finna act like the entire Plex is.
But yeah, I don't think nobody was like, I'm dedicating my life. Like nobody kind of went that route.
Could you still ollie?
I probably could.
Probably.
DMills, bro.
I call cap on both of them. I call cap on both of them. Prove it.
Hey, it don't matter what you saying because I gotta talk to DMills. If I said I was going to Zoomies, I want to buy a skateboard. Would you come with me and get one too? Like the good old times.
No, I still have my skateboard. I don't
He's
need
a
to buy
dad.
But you know
now.
damn well that shit got the rust of no, bro.
I would
Yeah,
go
what?
with you, Mike. I would go with you.
That
Mike.
was 19 years ago. You talking about I still got my skateboard?
I
That
do.
don't work.
Have you seen his trunk? He still got everything.
It's still. I'm pretty sure, unless my mama gave it away, it's still sitting in my closet at my mama's house.
Damn. You
I'll
need to
go
dust
with
it
you.
off.
Is that where y'all used to get y'all? Is that where y'all used to get y'all stuff from?
Zoomies, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're talking on Shimmy about it. Them skateboards, it was not cheap as a kid. They like
No,
over
I
$100.
never skateboarded, but
They
they
over-
always used to look raw when you can get
Yeah.
your look the bottom part of it.
And you can customize it. Yeah, you can customize your trunks and your wheels, and
That's tough.
Yeah.
Who was your biggest inspiration with skating? If y'all had one.
They gonna say TK.
A lot. Wasn't it?
I don't remember no names, but I used to really love the brand, like the skateboard brand, and like I
What's
guess
up,
Crew Plan B. I used to really like them. So
What was his name? It was a black.
I think it's like all right.
Oh,
Terry Kennedy.
Nigel Houston, right?
Rodriguez was in there. Nah,
I'm pretty sure
Terry Kennedy
Nigel
was
Houston was.
You said you like Adam 22.
I can visualize the person you're thinking about, Derek. Because he was a shorty, like he was a prodigy kid, and now he.
Hey,
got
I ain't
dreads
gonna
and
lie.
stuff.
I used to watch hella Life of Ryan too, with like Ryan Sheckler. Yeah, bro. Rob Deerdeck.
Right, Ryan Sheckler was that boy because
He
he had his
was.
own show.
Bro,
with no
fat
internet,
ass mansion. All
How
that.
did he
Yeah,
get
he had
that
his own
attention with
show.
no internet, bro?
No,
because
you're right,
today
'cause-
he was like,
That's an internet show right there. Or like that's a YouTube channel.
you get your clout from you get your clout from the internet. How did he get that recognition as a kid, just skateboard?
He
have
just
his
had to
own-
be, yeah. He just
and
had
it
to
was
be
on
raw as
MTV
hell.
or
Yeah.
it was on VH1 or MTV. It was a big network.
Bro,
it wasn't
and
like
he
it
had
was
to be like, how old do you think he was during?
Yeah, it was
15
Nigel
or
Houston.
16. Ryan Sheckler was definitely a teenager.
I don't know. Maybe this isn't him. This don't look like him. This is
No, that sounds about right, Derek.
But this dude is like Hispanic with tats. And
No, that's a. I think that's who you're thinking about.
for real?
I think he is. Nigel is black, bro. Maybe I don't know. Listen. I don't know. But I've
Google Terry Kennedy. He said it was a black dude. Google Terry Kennedy. That may be who you're talking about.
Unless he just looks different as an adult.
Terry
That could
Kennedy
be
is
just
like,
looks different, bro.
Yeah. Because when he was young, he had like dreads and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
see,
yeah. If you type in young, that's what's up. This the kid I visualize as well.
Oh, Terry Kennedy. He was a skater.
No,
too.
Nigel Houston. Nigel Houston.
Nigel Houston. Oh, you looked him up?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Terry Kennedy. He's in prison.
Eric, this the guy? Yeah.
yeah.
He's
Terry
in
Kennedy's
prison.
No. The
Holy
crazy
shit.
thing is the crime Terry Kennedy did to get him in prison. It happened.
Hey,
in
no,
Willow,
no.
bro.
Oh, down
Was
the
it-
street, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I remember
I
that.
Did? Oh shit.
Yes.
Hey,
This
a
come there?
name that
My camera won't focus.
you can't really see.
Damn.
Yeah, that's him though. That's him.
A
Yeah.
black dude that I definitely remember, like the name sounds familiar to me, is Theodis Beasley.
Theodis Beasley. Look, y'all going down memory lane on the skateboard and stuff. Was y'all what's the guy from Our
Rob
Future?
Dudek. Rob
Not-
Dudek was somebody else.
Mikhail Smith. Y'all remember Mikhail Smith? Is that his name?
I don't know who that is.
He was in Our Future and he was a skateboarder. I remember him growing up. Anyway, all right, Ancient Generation. Are we ready?
Let's get it.
The last two chapters we have to read with chapter 7, chapter 8. Chapter 7 is what is happening to boys. We just read chapter 5 and 6 that mostly focus on the girls' interpretation of social media, and now we get to talk about the guys. And it's obviously a lot different, a lot different. What do y'all want to, I guess, start off?
Let's see. Let me open up my notes tab.
So okay, I'll start off basically going in the order that he talked about in the book, where he starts off talking about the decline of males. And one thing I thought was really interesting is he brought up the stats of like less freak accidents happening.
That actually is kind of crazy because like I wouldn't have never thought that was a correlation to like kids not having injuries, but like obviously it does because like kids aren't moving as much; they're sitting down looking at tablets. But also thought it was a great quote from him was when he was talking about that growing up in a virtual world can make it hard for men to develop the social skills of a man that you need in a real world. And I think that's actually very interesting because like if you are sitting there looking at tablets and stuff, your perception of what it takes to be a real man could be skewed in the real world. Like you obviously might be looking at your phone and stuff, but being LeBron James ain't what it's like to be a real man.
They also said that women are better at it. What the economy requires now is a whole different set of skills.
Yes.
You need intelligence, you need ability to sit still and focus, to communicate openly, to be able to listen to people and operate in a workplace that is much more fluid than it used to be. Those are things that women do extremely well.
Yeah.
For the first time in American history, the balance of the workforce tipped toward women who continue to occupy around half of the nation's jobs.
But I think on the flip side, he did say that men are more successful at turning like the social media aspect into a career. Like they're able to use that and become like influencers and stuff like that. He mentioned that in the book as well. So I guess there is a flip side to it.
I wanted to go back to what KB was talking about real quick, but basically just like, I guess it talks about like boys being like less risky play, and they're kind of like equating to like girls in terms of like internal problems versus like external. And I just it just immediately made me remind me of like us still being part of that last generation that was really kind of like hanging out. Like I immediately thought of like our kickbacks and stuff like that. And you talked about like people these days, or young people, are not having like much accidents or drunk driving or alcohol and stuff like that because they're inside. And it just like makes me feel grateful that we kind of experienced that last little bit of part of it. Like we were probably a couple years old, you know?
Yeah, because we were drinking before 21 years old.
I read some of this
responsibly though.
I read some of this and thought responsibly.
But I mean, it's honestly like I think to summarize a lot of this is like kids are gonna be kids, like, and that's really the way it is. Like it sounds cliche, but like that's what makes shapes you to be an adult and like ready for the world.
He talked about Kikomori's too, which is I've known because of anime, and it was weird to see it come up in this book, which is like a term for these shut-ins that happen a bunch in Japan because there's so much pressure on men in Japan to be like this breadwinner, being tech, being this, being to that. And hikikomori is just like this lifestyle of people that are shut in. So when I saw that word pop up, I was like, oh snap! I can think of characters in shows I've watched that were literally this, and then they got isekai to a whole different world, and they became.
How did they break it down in the show? Because this is my first time being introduced to the word.
Pretty close to this. Where I'm trying to think of a show.
Like think of an example, if you can.
There's a show. I have to look about my anime.
The reason I'm asking is because obviously he's explaining it as a negative, but in the show, is it a negative?
No, yeah, they're pretty negative. So like one of the isekais I watched is a guy that was a kikomori. He's a shut-in. All he cared about was ordering fast food and playing video games. And then one of the games that he loved so dearly, he got isekai'd in, which is he basically jumped into the screen and he became the character that he was playing. And in this, he found out that the outside world ain't that bad. And it's an eight episode series of him in this game trying to get out, because if he don't get out, he'll die. But then he's recognizing that getting outside is this good thing. So when he finally does get outside of the game, the last episode, he opens up his door and he walks outside. That's like the whole thing. I'm like, oh, like that is something that we've seen in anime, and that's like it's a trope in anime quite a bit of a guy being a hikikomori, and get isekai'd into a TV show or a movie, or he gets changed from a boy to a girl in the show, and y'all know how anime get. Now he's looking down at his chest for an entire episode instead of. Yeah, it's just something that I've seen in anime quite a bit. So for it to be coming in this book, I'm like, I'm familiar with that term. You feel me?
That was definitely my first time hearing that term. He used the word Kermit.
There was a lot of big words in this section.
Hermit.
Yeah, I heard Hermit before. For sure.
Yeah. Mike, you talked about going out and kickbacks and everything, but I thought about y'all sometimes with reading some of this, and us, I'll say, because I feel like we don't do that as much as we can. Even like with All-Star Weekend coming up, you know what I mean? We was talking of whatever, and some of y'all are like, man, I'm trying to get up out of there. So it's like, on one hand, like, y'all,
but they also did go into it.
Like,
they also did go into it a little bit, and it just we already kind of knew this about COVID, how it kind of just turned up. Basically, a lot of people off about like those going out, and we just got accustomed to being in a house. Like, that's the basic. I feel like I really got into that, where it's like, I'm a real product of COVID. Like, I really do not mind staying in the house.
That's crazy, because I don't think COVID has shifted. It never shifted my mindset of like, I enjoy going out. I was actually frustrated because I was like, I just want to go out. Like, I hated sitting in the house, and and then especially when it's nice out and everything, you know, I got to sit out. It really bothered me, like to a separate degree of what it bothered other people.
I think that for me, because all of my channels kind of took off during COVID, I associated that being inside and working with positivity. Hey, I made the most money of my entire life in 2021. And that was when I couldn't go outside. So if I just stay in this room and make 3 more videos, then maybe we could replicate some of that stuff. And that's bad. Like when we talk about San Francisco, I'm the one that Pierre's referring to. As soon as I get my agenda, I told them the moment I'm done working, I'm going home. And I wrote that before I read chapter 8 of it. And he talked about kind of living in the moment and kind of respecting the outside world a little bit more, where you're not detached, so you don't have headphones in, you kind of appreciate and stuff. And I think about being in a city like San Francisco, which for all the bad things, is also a beautiful city. So I might refrain from that, P. I might stay the entire time and kind of spend some time, not necessarily going to a park but just appreciating the fact that, hey, we get to go to All-Star Weekend pro bono. Actually, we're getting paid to do this. We got like real stuff that we got going on here, and have an opportunity to see some architecture that we don't see here in Chicago, or seeing the water. We're gonna be right there on the water. Like San Francisco got a view to the ocean.
I was thinking about it too, like how many times I didn't walked into the office. And this is very small too, but like I never really looked at our building, the structural building, or like the surroundings around it. I think that's just like tunnel vision of walking in. But I also wanted to ask y'all, because he goes into basically about like why it's important to have like these spiritual meetings or stuff like that, where you kind of just like you meet around and you feel like you're in a community and you feel belonged and all these type of things. I kind of felt like in some way this podcast is like a spiritual meeting for like myself, and I wanted to see if it felt like the same way for y'all, because obviously super scheduled up, we come the same days. You know, we might check our phones to see an update or do something like that, but usually this is like straight times where we're just talking and chilling and then sitting around, you know?
That's a very good point, Mike. I guess I didn't see it that way, but that makes I mean, the one thing that he said a lot of these things have in common is like food being there, like people use, you know, these commutes to like really come together and eat. But other than that, it could really be that for I mean, if that's your interpretation of it, then I think that works, right? Because we are like-minded individuals that have a goal in mind, that are spending, like you mentioned, where we go from 10 o'clock to 3 p.m. on Saturdays. Like, it's not a crazy schedule, but it's 5 hours of us just being together collectively. So I'm not mad at that.
I never looked at it like that, but I think you're absolutely right. And I think that's how I feel when we take these trips, because I know it's going to be annual, like a holiday. I know every year around February, around Valentine's Day, we have to go to All-Star. I know Vegas is going to be like July because of the summer league. And so I always look forward to it. And that's why sometimes when we have these things going and we get excited and then we get there and we end up leaving early or we don't do as much, I'll be like, damn, because I'll be looking forward to it because it's like that. Those are some of the things about what we do that I love when we just together. And we do get to lock in. And like you did say, even when we do the podcast, yeah, we know we might check for an alert, but for the most part, we're not on our phones. It's something that we giving our undivided attention to in a world where distractions are kind of being promoted. You get what I'm saying? So I definitely didn't look at it that way, but now that you say it like that, I think that I definitely agree with you. I look forward to doing this show when I miss it. I don't like missing. When I'm sick and I can't come or something comes up, I tell Dane all the time, like I look forward to going to work. I go on my Instagram and say, man, I'm at work. I'm having fun. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people don't have that feeling, and I know that. So the fact that I know that I get to go and do something that I love with people that I love and respect, I always just appreciate it.
When I missed them a couple days, like a week or two ago, like when you miss a pod, you just don't feel the same. You feel like you're missing something. You feel like you're legit missing something.
And you gotta pray that it ain't a time that is something that got you moving. Like if you see something on the court that you really want to talk about, and you like, oh, I can't wait to bring up that a man had this crazy block, and then it's like you miss it and you can't. It's like it's hard to explain. People won't understand unless you have a podcast and have to miss an episode. And then also in a climate like today where everybody thinks they know basketball, it's hard to get what we get with each other in different form. I can't go to a family event and get this. I can't go to the barbershop and get this. I try to engage on Twitter as much as I can with fans, but a lot of times they're so biased and they're casual fans that I can't get what we have. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, I need to get that itch scratched.
The reason I started like giggling because Austin just replied today. He said, "Facts. I'm at home sad as hell right now." It's so funny that Austin is in this call because he's literally not working. He's just listening to the show. Right. like Omaha's taking control of all production, I believe. So Austin's just chilling, you know?
Vibing.
Yeah, just vibing.
Type shit. I'm gonna go back a little bit because some of the stuff that y'all referring to is in the last chapter we read, which to me, from my personal opinion, it's the best chapter, my favorite chapter. I love when he talked about the walks that the students took and everything, kind of what KB mentioned, which we'll get to, I'm sure, again. But in this first chapter of the two, he says the second psychological effect is the result of boys taking up online multiplayer video games in the late 2000s and smartphones in the early 2010s, both of which pulled boys decisively away from face-to-face or shoulder-to-shoulder interaction. He says at that point, I think we do see signs of a mass psychological breakdown or at least a mass psychological change. Once boys had multiple internet-connected devices, many of them were swallowed whole, like somebody he refers to, Godson. Many boys get lost in cyberspace, which made them more fragile, fearful, and risk-averse on Earth. Beginning in the late 2000s and early 2010s, American boys' rates of depression, anxiety, self-harm, and suicide began rising. Boys across the Western world began showing concerning declines in their mental health. By 2015, a staggering number of them said that they had no close friends, that they were lonely, and that there were no meaning or direction to their lives. And the reason that this stood out to me is because some of this I see with our job. Some of this, I talk with people, I have interactions with people, and for years, y'all know me, I've been very passionate on the podcast. I love basketball. I'm a yeller. I can be passionate. I talk shit. And there has always been this small crowd on the internet that doesn't know how to react to it or handle it. It offends them. It makes them feel a way. And I for a while early on, I used to just be confused by it. Reading some of this helps me get an understanding. The beginning, I was confused, like whatever, like y'all crazy. The middle part, I just ignored it because it did nothing for me. But now reading this gives me a little bit of understanding that I can see when we all grew up, though we're not that much older than some of the people we're talking about or reading about, because we didn't have the cell phones and the devices, when we had recess, when we had lunch, and we had to talk about, it don't even need to be sports, but if you talk about your favorite running back, like when I grew up, the conversation was Kobe versus Kobe versus LeBron. Me and some of my best friends to this day, 20 years later, we're still best friends. We had full-blown arguments. But like on this show, it always ended with love and respect because it was nothing. We were used to face-to-face, shoulder-to-shoulder human interaction. I feel like because you have this device, when a person is now being passionate or yelling on a show, people can't understand it. So they do feel like, oh man, no way he just said that to Mike. And that's his friend. Or
I told you, I remember that day we was at the YMCA and you and I think it was Twan. I'm pretty sure his name was Twan. Had to be arguing for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half straight. And I couldn't remember what.
Derrick Rose.
They were just arguing. I'm like, y'all might have to get
right.
Yeah.
That was Derrick Rose and Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Rose is coming off of his injuries, and Steph Curry was emerging. This is before Steph Curry was an MVP. And Tweezy took advantage of my biasness. I was so biased to Derrick Rose that I wasn't paying no attention to Steph Curry. And he was like, man, Steph Curry is he's the best point guard. He's going to win MVP and everything. And I'm like, boy, you got Derrick Rose bent. Tweezy was right, though. This is before we did the podcast. So I was being a biased fan. And I was ignoring everything and every point he was making because I was riding with Derrick Rose. And Tweezy was more on the side of like, as much as you love Derrick Rose, bro, this Steph Curry dude is the truth. And I just wasn't trying to hear it. And it's funny you remember that. But yeah. But that was my boy, though. We did that for an hour.
I don't even think they understand. Like, in today's, y'all talking about going back and forth. I'm telling about, like, he was legit yelling in that YMCA.
Yeah. And for people to understand, I'm tall. But I'm just tall. Tweezy is a football exhibit looking built dude. But because it's a passionate conversation, I don't give a fuck how strong he is. Derrick Rose is the one, you dumbass. Tweezy could have put me in a headlock, but it didn't matter because number one, it wasn't that deep. That's my homie. And it's just basketball. But a lot of times I go on social media or I just had a conversation with somebody the other day that was talking about something that I do in a pod. And I'm like, cool. But I'm not changing it because that's just who I am. You know what I mean? And it's like people just don't understand the element that it just don't be that deep. It's nothing is that deep for me to change who I am because I'm yelling on a podcast. Like it just ain't that deep. Even on social media, how many times have y'all seen this? And I don't want to exaggerate like this happens every day. I have legitimately seen somebody say something not so positive about a person's favorite team or player. And I'll see the fan of that team or player quote that person's tweet and say something like, well, shit, that's why your mom died. Have y'all seen that before? I've seen.
Yeah,
for sure.
This game is not that deep. But that comes from this. You wouldn't say that in somebody's face.
Yeah.
I have never had an interaction with any of my friends or anybody at school when we argued about our favorite Dragon Ball Z character, our favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card, or favorite player, and we disagreed and argued. And I said something about somebody's deceased family member. That only happens on this because there's no repercussions through a screen.
That's why I'm so. First of all, I wish I had a nickname as cool as Tweezy. That shit is hard.
Tweezy, yeah.
That's why I'm so happy.
If he knows Tweezy. I wonder if you know Tweezy.
When you described him, I didn't see no picture of my.
I remember. I wish, or I wonder if he remembers that same argument, bro.
I remember that shit. He does because he said that, and the next year, Steph Curry was MVP. I know he remembers that. That's like one of the best takes he probably ever had in his life. Not only did he become MVP, he took over the league. This is before the shock value of Steph Curry. I just want to ram that home. Imagine somebody coming up to you before Steph Curry was MVP, won a championship, and started the dynasty and said he's the best point guard in the league, yada, 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 yada.
This shit had to be like 2012. This had to be like when I was a sophomore in high school or some shit.
But back to I was saying that I'm just so happy that I'm a well-adjusted human. Because what you said is true. Like a lot of people that will do that faceless trolling, I can't imagine them being able to go out in a normal world and have a normal life. Like that's what they're like. Like even the example, right before Christmas when I had the Joel Embiid tweet, right? If I wasn't a well-adjusted human and people are on Twitter talking shit, not just about me, but my family, I could have went crazy. But the reality is, what did I do?
You turned that phone off. Man,
that's it. That was the end of it.
It's a whole different conversation. There's legit times where I'm hearing people in a game chat. This is a game chat. They'll say the craziest things. I'm like, there's no way you can say the same things in just day-to-day life. It's just no way. I don't know who the hell is allowing that.
It's the benefit of anonymity at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because nobody that was saying what P said, the extreme, that's why so-and-so passed away, or the replies to my tweet, not a single one of the motherfuckers had a profile picture of themselves. Nope. You know what I'm saying? It's the anonymity, you know what I'm trying to say, of the internet that gives people this power, this extra 60 pounds of muscle, of macho. It's just the reality of it. And I think it does go into, like, he mentioned how the internet / video game era has really done some good, but some definitely bad things to the male brain. And he also does the whole segment about pornography as well, where people, because they can get a virtual fix of people online and can get a virtual sexual fix of being able to see anything they want, any category, like just with one click of a button, has people so, I mean, that's how you get to the hikikimoris of the world, where it's like, I got everything I need right here. I can talk to Mike on Discord. I can go buy something for $30 that can pleasure me and watch something on my computer. So I don't need nothing else in the world.
They don't even need to go out. They don't even need to go to the store no more. Everything can come delivered, from groceries to necessities to anything.
Those virtual bonds aren't real either. Like, those are just people that you just meet on Xbox, and like, essentially, if his Xbox break, that bond is broken. Like,
which is, I have an example of that, bro. Shout out to the kitty cat in the background. I can't hear.
You can hear him?
Yeah, Kevin is a guy that I went to school with. He went to Lovett Elementary with me. He was 1 year older, but we went to school. I didn't know he existed. We somehow found a way to be in the same Xbox party. We became best fucking friends. Like, when you heard KB, you knew Kevin was in the party with him as well. Mm-hmm. Kevin lost Xbox membership for a month. I did not talk to him, and I have not heard from him since that day. It was not a real connection.
Me and Tyler
just happened to play the game together.
Me and Tyler went to school with each other. Like, we were cool. We would talk. We hang out. Our friendship didn't take off till we was playing Modern Warfare 2 together. Like, we was late night. We 4 or 5 hours on the game on a weekend. Like, I don't know why, but a lot of friendships it took off right there. But he kind of mentioned, like you basically just mentioned, the foundation of it is just not strong. Is the person that lives next door, the person I go hang out with at the park every other day. It's just not there. And I think we could, like, there's value in those friendships online, but it's just not the same. Like, you can't get the same benefits from it.
So we have examples of that.
Yeah.
I actually hated Tyler when we were in school, but we found a way to be in the same Xbox party, but we took that internet friendship and turned it to a real life friendship.
Yeah.
I didn't know Terrence from a can of paint, but he happened to be in the party with y'all all the time. Then eventually it translated to us all hanging together. So we had the virtual start, but it turned into like a real brotherhood through IRL things, us going to the park and playing baseball, or him coming to play golf, or so on and so forth.
But I believe because we come from that. So even though we do that, though it may not be a lot at certain points, there is still a small craving of that, because you come from a certain childhood where you're used to going to Rail's house or Darrick next door, you're used to that. So it's like we gotta link up at some point. A lot of kids don't have that reference, so they never gonna have the craving of saying, "Hey, bro, we play the game 10 hours a day. We got to go get some pizza. We got to go to the movies or something." They're not going to do that because
you might have been the last person I played 2K with, like, side by side in like an actual set.
In my basement, and all of them came.
I remember
that was like 6 years ago.
I think I played Mason at like the show or some shit, but like that one shit, like, I legit went to Pierre's house and we played for money. Or we played for
good
some
old
shit.
days, man.
That was pre-COVID, man. That's how long ago
that was pre-podcast, wasn't it?
It might have been super early podcast.
I just know I remember I drove over.
No, it was pre-podcast. You live with your dad. You came. That's why you came, because you was at.
I didn't live in the Plex no more either. So
you wouldn't have came from Romeoville or wherever you was at to my house in my mom's basement for 2 games. You would live with your dad still.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah,
I know just how the basement was laid out, so right. I can tell what phase of my life that I was in. We was not podcast when that basement was like that. So that was but during when the podcast first started, also, KB, me and Mike would play at your house.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. I do remember.
We played person to person at the house. So we would play for slices of pizza and go next door across the street to get pizza. Those are the great days. But no, yeah. And the pornography thing, I'm glad he had that in there. It's just so dangerous. to the world, because I think we talked about it before, but the way that it's shown in pornography is not the reality of it. Number one. Number two, psychologically, you begin to subconsciously, I guess, kind of degrade women, because if you watch that enough, you believe that women are just it's an object that you can dispose, right? Because like he talked about, a lot of people watch, if you're partaking in that, it's just a video. Once the video is done, they even said they did tests and reports that men say that they partake in that, and once they done, women ain't even as attractive no more.
They said their own girlfriend not even as attractive.
Yeah, they said some people think their own girl not attractive anymore. Yeah. So if you're doing it that much, that women become really nothing to you, man, that's damaging. I ain't doing shit where women become women are always going to be the central focus of life. We need women. Women run the world. That's how all of us are here. You know what I mean? Like, they're the most softest, beautiful, smell good, warmest creatures in the existence of the planet. So I'm not doing anything that makes me think otherwise, but that's what becomes dangerous. And that's why I believe, I don't know any statistics, but I feel like I hear more sexual assault stories now than I ever did. And it could be because I'm older. Maybe when I was younger, I just lived in La La Land. You know what I mean? I don't want to falsely name anything, but I think the perception of sex and what women are and how women are to be treated, and I'm not even talking about a woman that you know. I'm just talking about on the street. If you're watching and consuming pornography at that rate, which in this chapter says that people are addicted, that's how they're starting their day every day.
Yeah, at this day and age, social media is not too much far from it. You know, like you can't scroll down Instagram or Twitter and not see something close to it. And it's just a gateway, honestly.
No, you're absolutely right, because when we was younger, you couldn't just scroll on Facebook and see that. So if you just get a Twitter account because you want to keep up with Kawhi Leonard or Kawhi Fits, and you're scrolling, and all of a sudden you got whatever going on, you can't escape it. But again, it makes you think the world is one way. So that's why you see people seeing I seen a video of a girl doing something, and one of the comments it was a popular comment because people got on him, but he said something like, "What you think gonna happen when you dress like that?" And I've seen that happen before, but I'm trying to tell y'all, she was not dressed no way.
And even if she was, but
I guarantee y'all, if I showed y'all would think that I'm lying. She had on what I'm wearing. She had on a jacket like this with pants on, and he talking about. But again, even if she was wearing booty shorts or whatever, her whole ass could be out. She'd be wearing a thong in the middle of the street. It wouldn't matter. But it's like people are so twisted in the brain now because of some of that shit that it's just it messes up the world.
It's like a never-ending cycle, man. It's like he mentioned that because of the pornography addictions, guys have this unrealistic expectations for a woman's body, and now she thinking Craig like this Instagram model and what she looked like, and now that's putting her in this cycle where she thinks she got to try to look like that, knowing damn well or not knowing that those pictures are edited. And so it's just this ever-ending cycle of just terribleness, man.
And he also was talking about how like porn actually prevents men from getting out and interacting and like getting to know women for who they are. And like I think you see that a lot. Like a lot of the people who are trolling in comment sections, and like I guarantee you those are the dudes that honestly aren't really going out and interacting with women and like doing things like that. Like they feel that comfort and that satisfaction from just being online. Yeah. You can't tell me that a man. Yeah, a man that has a woman and he's happy and he's comfortable, he's not sitting online trolling.
You have to get the interaction, man. If we have any viewers that's watching or that's young, I know the internet is there. It don't even have to be porn related, but just because of the internet is there and you can reach out to a woman or DM a girl or whatever, you have to go out and do the face-to-face thing, because it's going to be the reality. No matter how much you try to hide behind the screen, at some point you're going to have to talk to the woman that you're pursuing or the guy that you're pursuing or whatever you're doing.
I'm motivating that person to go talk to that girl right now. Yes. Rejection only builds character and gets you stronger for the next one. It's okay if she say no.
It's like basketball. You miss every shot you don't take. But if you make the game winner, nobody can tell you shit. You know how many guys that don't they say Michael Jordan missed more shots than he made?
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that, because all that matters is the ones you made. Yeah. So if you go to 5 girls and 4 of them deny you, the last one you get the number. That's all you and your homies gonna talk about. Hey, I got that number. Hey, I got that number. Hey, unless you got a hating homie or they're your best friends. Your best friends is gonna say, "Oh, what about that one girl that told your ass to get the fuck away from me?"
No, she said
Your best friend is gonna bring it up once. The hating person is gonna bring it up every single time.
Yeah.
So
we do have a question here from Clay. How would you boys make in-person friends community outside of school/work? I think that's something we kind of mentioned.
How would we?
Yeah. How would we?
I would say probably just going to the. I think one way at least is easier is going to the gym. Going to the gym is a community in there. You can work out. People talk. They're friendly. You can go play hoops, playing basketball. That's always like a gateway to making friends because y'all already got that one thing in common. Whatever your hobbies is, there's probably a community that do that, and you could somehow come together. If you like chess, there's probably somewhere you can go and play chess and be a part of a chess community. If you like gaming cards or whatever, there's somewhere you can go and do that. If you like poker, you can if there's a hobby that you have, use that hobby to probably gateway your way to your friends.
I would say be the change you want to see. Darrick is definitely right. But be the change you want to see. So even if you do formulate relationships online, because it's going to happen, because we all use online, you then, extend out that branch or the invitation to do something in the real world. Mm-hmm. People just, I don't think that there's people that just are like the one chapter with the hermits that just want to sit in their room. I think they do it and they don't realize it's happening. So if you meet somebody that's gaming, like I said, you may game with them 7 hours a day anyway, or every weekend anyway. If you don't say nothing, it may not be an awareness to them. But if you're asking this question, that means you're craving for it. So then hey bro, we should link up, man. Let's go to a White Sox game. And then before you know it, there you got it.
Yeah. Darrick makes a good point too, though. Whatever your hobby is, you find people.
I've seen people actually meet up. I remember, I think it was last live show or the one before that, but people had never met before, but somehow they had kind of found each other at the show, and they were both individual. They came there as one, and they kind of found each other, and they had a little friendship from that. So I agree with the similar hobbies for sure.
Darrick put a screenshot of somebody saying, I got my tickets to the show. I'm in this area. If you want to carpool, let me know.
That was dope.
That's human interaction.
That was so crazy. That's so generous too. Mm-hmm. Like he's volunteering to drive you to the Bay Area and get you back home. Like that's I think that's crazy that our community is full of people like that. They're all genuine.
Yeah, I think this is something I've always struggled with. Because every friend that I have is a lifelong friend, right? I met y'all my freshman year of high school. We've been friends since then. I don't have any newer friends outside of people that we might have hired onto the company or from our previous work and venture. Is like we just happen to be coworkers and they cool, we can hang out. So I'm always envious when I see people that are able, like one of the most eye-opening things, and Pierre, you know this because it's your dad, but we were at the Christmas tournament. And literally everybody said what up to Ty. And that's because EJ's his dad, but it's also he has this charismatic nature about him. They're like one lady was trying to come up the stairs of the bleachers. She was an older lady, and he got up to just help her. Do you need some help? The type of shit like that does not ring in my mind. I saw that same lady, didn't think twice about going to help her at all. But he went out of his way, and then she didn't say thank you. He said, "I owe that motherfucker." And then but he had the interaction. He had the interaction.
There's another black lady in the building next to me, and sometimes coincidentally, I'm leaving out, and she's walking with her cane, and she's carrying her garbage to the dumpster. I'll always walk down and meet her, and be like, "Don't even worry about it. I take it to the dumpster." And then she'd be like, "Thank you so much," and like she appreciates that, and it's just a small gesture. But like, I wish I could catch her every time. Like, if I could catch her every time, I would happily go take out her garbage for her.
Tell her to knock on your door every time she got garbage. Leave it by my door. I'll take it out after that.
Well, no, she's not in my building. She's down the way. Like, there's another building that's attached to mine.
Right, KB giving her more work. She got to now go through it.
Just knock it off. The close thing I had to not even really a friend group, because outside of going to the gym, like when y'all went to Expo, whatever, like everybody be like, "What up, Mike? What up, Mike Captain?" Or like, y'all see, like, it's just because I've been there so long, and like everybody just kind of like we've been hooping together for years. I'm talking about like pre-COVID, after COVID, once they opened the gym, like we all been together, so it's like a feeling of belonging there. But outside of that, that was probably the closest thing I had to like a different type of friend group. And they was not even people I hang out with. They're just people I've seen regularly to go play basketball and stuff like that.
I think it is healthy to have multiple. Like Terrence has like 3 friend groups. He's got his black friends, he's got his white friends, and he's got his mixed group. It's like, but I'm sure he has connections with everybody in every friend group. Like he's and I envy that as well. But he also has experience of going off to college, something that none of us had to do. And you just kind of have to do when you're on a whole different in a different state in a different scenario. You have no choice but to make friends, right? And we all just went to community college down the street, so it's like when you go to community college, it's the last thing on your mind. You don't want to meet people. You want to get your credits and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, nobody at the SCOD was trying to make friends.
Nah,
everybody was kind of in and out.
I know. I follow 2 people on Instagram for my whole years at COD. Just 2.
I think I follow 1.
Oh, maybe it is 1. It's the same girl, right? Start with an M.
We had class with her.
Yeah, I think I
follow 1 as well.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean that's just what it was. That's what it is at community college. A lot of people are there to get the job done to go home. But when you're on campus, your whole life is this one space. So it's like, let me go to this party, let me go to this event, so on and so forth, or let me join a club. At 28, it's not many clubs we can really join when you think about it. I'm sure they exist, but few and far between.
I'm telling y'all, we got to go into that pickleball club, man. It's run by me. It's a bunch of old people who can run there, man.
On the same note, me and Darrick were talking yesterday, P, and you weren't here because you weren't playing my rivals. I said
Ben Johnson has arrived, but I'm okay.
Oh, shout out to Ben Johnson. I feel we should go play golf. I was like, I miss golf. Darrick was like, I was gonna ask y'all to go this weekend. Mike said, don't go on Saturday because I got something to do. Mike tried to pop out to go play golf with us at the simulator, bro.
We got something to do Monday too, don't we, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah,
we could get Mike outside the house 2 days in a row. But no, that's one of the things I like about having 2 friend groups. I got y'all, and then I got obviously Flex, Tavares, Ontario, and them. It's like, because y'all so different, it's like half of me on both sides. So I always have people to do things that I want to do. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to get Ontario and Flex and Darnie in a simulator. But I got KB, Darrick, Terrence, hopefully Mike. I used to try to go to White Sox games with them all the time. I don't know if they was that much into baseball, so it took a little harder to make it happen, but we was going, you know what I'm saying? So I always, when couple times a year, I do kind of want to maybe go to a club. I know I ain't picking up the phone and tell my KB, we finna go pop out to the club, but I know Ontario, Darnie, and they gonna be ready, you know what I'm saying? So I love that for sure. I think go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna ask KB because like, not even just friend groups, but it just talks about like your community and the people around you. And I immediately think about neighbors. In apartment building, it's a little weird to kind of know your neighbors, but like KB,
is it?
I think it is. I think
you don't know any of your neighbors.
I know a couple by face,
my
but
apartment
like,
ain't as big as Darrick's. I'm in like a 3 flat.
Yeah, I'm not going over to knock like you got, a pair of AA batteries I could borrow or something like. I'm not at that.
My neighbor did that. My neighbor came to my door and said, "Do you have an egg?" Yeah. And I was I was thrown off, but I loved it at the same time. So I'm like, I've been waiting for this. Yeah, I got an egg, bro. Give me 1 second. And
my neighbor knocked on my door one day, and she brought us some banana bread.
And he brought cookies back. But now ours is a little different because my neighbor, his girlfriend, or fiance, went to high school with us.
Right.
And so that's kind of not like a random ass stranger. But I was so happy that I finally had a neighbor knock and ask for something because I've been waiting for you. I'm like, come on. I got eggs.
I was telling Elena, bro, I think we needed like, maybe it might have legit been some sugar. I was like, just go ask the neighbor. She's like, no, I'm not finna do that and ask for no cup of sugar. I'm like, I used to realize back when I was a shorty, we were really good friends with like one of my neighbors. Like my mom was real close with them. Like they had kids and we was all like, it was a legit community. And I always would go over there and ask for something and vice versa. So it's just weird it being like, and now it's like, nah, it's just gonna seem a little off to go over there.
The greatest phase of my life that I will never, ever, ever let go. My neighbor was my best friend. Me and Ontario was literally neighbors, door by door. So if I was getting yelled at to get in trouble, he was hearing it. So it wasn't no big deal. If he was getting yelled at and getting in trouble, I was, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like some stranger over there hearing me get in trouble, my mama yelling at me. But if we needed some sugar, I go, hey, go next door and get some sugar. You didn't even have to act and see, like you knew what they had. You know, you always knew that you had, you know, and they used to do the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
So me and Ontario want to play the game. We could play the game all night because he just go right back home. You know what I mean? Like, just I always love the community feel. That's what that's like exactly what I always try to like bring up about what we do here. And then also what I'm trying to curate with Teed Up is a community, bro. Community, especially in a time like now, is so important, and it's so dope to be able to have. Like, again, to have somebody say, man, I'm going to this live show, this podcast I watch, but if you need a ride, let me know. That is community.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're strangers, but it's like this one common thing that we have can bring us together to be able to form some type of human-to-human reaction. Who the hell is that behind you?
That the man.
My boy. My boy.
That boy DG.
What wrestler can I match Darrick with? That is
the right one.
But to get to Mike's original question, I still have not made any bonds or connections with any of my neighbors, other than
I feel like that's hard, bro.
It is.
In houses, it's a little different.
The one kid who's on the basketball team, when I drive past, he wave. I wave. I don't know his name. I don't know anything. I just know that he's a good kid that says hi. And then the kid that's literally next door to me, when he sees me, he says hi. But I've never interacted with any of the parents on any side here. Other than one guy. No.
Do you think the kids know you?
That's because KB's shy.
Well, no, the kid that plays basketball out there, he knows who I am.
KB's supposed to be like, let me get a shot, man. You're a little weak ass. And then next thing you know, he gonna bust your ass and die, you know.
Hey. But no, it definitely is harder. I mean, again, I'm cordial enough to if I see somebody, I'll wave. But only time I've had a real interaction is I think I told this story before. I was wearing some off-whites on a walk. He said, "Those are off-whites, right?" One of my neighbors. He's like, "I got the white pair. I've never worn it because they're white." And that was the only interaction I've ever had with any of my neighbors. Seemed like a cool guy. Didn't get his name.
You've been there for some time too.
It's about to be 3 years.
I think it's so hard to create that bond with your neighbors in a house because when all of y'all lived like that good, you ain't never gonna need no sugar.
Like, you know, I helped the lady put up her Christmas lights once because she was out there trying to put them up, and I think I was outside with a dog, and I could tell she was.
He's just a handyman around.
I was gonna say he's just a good guy, good neighbor, man.
And I was like, "You want me to help you put those up?" And she was like, "Yeah, if you don't mind." And I just helped her put up her Christmas lights.
Trying to get that call at 2 a.m. to unclog that toilet.
But no, I think when you live in an apartment, the reason I think it's harder in a house is because like when you're coming in and out of the house, you're taking out the garbage. You know what I mean? It's so many chances to go past your neighbors.
Yeah.
And a house is like, it's my house. I could never walk past my neighbor in the world. I can never see my neighbor if I don't want to. But in an apartment, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah. That might be where we ended right there, y'all. We got 2 options. Hours. We got 2 options. There's only 80 pages left. Do y'all want to tackle these 80 pages in 1 week and come back next week and wrap up the book, or we can split those 80 pages into 2 weeks?
Let's wrap it up. 80 pages is not hard.
No, but can we do 2 weeks and then we'll wrap up around All-Star, let everybody have a deep breath. And then we could come back with the next book.
Cool.
I'm thirsty to get to that next book.
You still can read it though. You just can't talk about it when we talk about it.
So that means that for the people at home, chapter 9 and chapter 10 for next Tuesday is what we're gonna be talking about. I don't even know the name of those chapters, but just know it should be good. And then
collective action.
I think he's actually about to go
childhood.
into solution. I think he said he's about to go into actual solutions.
He did. If KB read the full chapter, he would have seen what it was. But.
You know, he just read the part where it said
in some.
Hey, by the way, now that we read some of this, when we do get to San Francisco, I'm gonna be reminding y'all when they hit nighttime and they like Damian Lillard hosting this thing, y'all invited. And this is when it gets. Remember when Jonathan Haidt said, "Look at Mike. Mike put his head down."
I'm popping out the Indian.
I ain't gotta listen to everything that boy be saying.
Hey, Mike did this.
Indian all activities, man. I'm not.
Oh, I'm gonna hold you to that, Derek.
We appreciate y'all watching this throwback episode of Numbers on the Board. Next week we will be back in person because it ain't supposed to be -9 degrees.
Tomorrow actually gonna be decent.
Yeah, right. It's gonna change just like that.
Yeah.
Either way,
20s is considered decent.
Hey, come a long way, huh?
I mean, when you ship from Chicago, a lot of things that other people
-8 or
consider
20
terrible.
degrees.
Yeah, no.
Chicago, 20 degrees is all right.
Yeah.
Especially
You can make that rock. Yeah.
We appreciate y'all. We see y'all next episode. Peace.